It's Wednesday, November the 5th. Today, the federal government tables its budget, what it includes and how much it's set to cost. Preparing for winter, how much more City Hall is already being told to set aside for snow clearing. And later, honoring those who have served our country, one of the tributes marking Veterans Week ahead of Remembrance Day. Your Morning Winnipeg starts right now. Good morning, Manitoba. Thank you so much for being with us here on Your Morning Winnipeg. We have a show bang and filled with all kinds of reaction to the budget yesterday, and we're going to get some details throughout the show as well. But Ainsley McPhail is live at Fort White Alive today. The weather has been so nice. Gorgeous. She is embracing the outdoors, and she's getting to play outside. And really, this is a good time to get out there and enjoy it while you can.
You know, she picked a really good day for it because, yes, we've been seeing above seasonal temperatures, some really pleasant, kind of benign conditions. That will be coming to an end, sadly, but you know what? Let's enjoy it because we really have had just a gorgeous fall. Currently, we're a little bit chillier than we have been over the last week at this time of day, -4 degrees. That wind chill, though, cooling us off to about -10. Slightly overcast, a couple clouds out there. Winds are wet out of the west and northwest at 17 kilometers per hour. The barometric pressure is rising, the humidity sitting at 90%. So yes, we're in store for a rather sunny day across much of Manitoba, as you can see on our radar. A little bit of cloud coverage to the north, but most of us starting off with just a sprinkle. For the rest of us, however, we are likely to see a bit of a change in conditions overnight into tomorrow. So you see this system here, very slight, bringing a slight chance of some flurry activity to areas in the northeast and for a little further to the south. As the day progresses, we start to see this band of clouds push further into the south. And from there, we're tracking an Alberta clipper. You can see it's kind of coming at us from all ends. It could be mixed precipitation, likely arriving first in the Parkland region overnight, and then really hovering, I keep standing in front of the wrong spot, really hovering around southern Manitoba tomorrow. Likely start off as snowfall and then transition into rain in the late afternoon, early evening. Good amount of dense clouds while the north stays very clear. However, you will get a shot too. It's looking like another system is bringing a good amount of snowfall to much of northern Manitoba into the weekend. Backtracking to today, we're getting up to a high of 6 degrees. 2 is what's seasonal. And yes, as you can see, we take a real turn overnight in terms of our conditions. Temperatures start to fall off, 3 degrees under that mix of rain and snow. Friday, that sun is back out, but those temperatures really take a dip at -4 degrees.
Thank you, Catherine. Mark Carney's government delivered its first budget Tuesday, a major spending plan that comes with a big deficit. CTV's Mike Lecouture has more on what's included and how much it will cost.
Every Canadian should feel that there's something for them.
Borrowing the election campaign slogan, Mark Carney's government is hoping to build a strong country by stimulating the economy with billions in spending. Over the next 5 years, the Liberals are promising $141 billion in new measures, which the government plans to offset with $51.2 billion in savings. So how deep is the budget going into the red? Well, Canada's deficit for this fiscal year is $78.3 billion. It's projected to shrink slightly, hitting $56.6 billion in 4 years. The finance minister blamed part of it on the trade dispute with the U.S. and support measures for affected industries.
Well, I think Canadians would understand 75% of it is really the headwind that we have faced, but Canada is not unique in that. The world has faced it, and you see it with global growth, which has been readjusted lower.
For the first time, operational and capital spending has been separated in this budget. The document shows the operational side will hit a surplus in 3 years. But some experts warn that change could lead to some creative accounting.
It is subject to a little bit of abuse. I would rather see a much narrower definition of capital investment than has been employed in this particular budget.
One of the biggest spends is $81.8 billion over 5 years on national defense, which will get Canada to its NATO commitment of 2%. Now, the government has also earmarked $51 billion over the next decade for new infrastructure projects in something called the Build Communities Strong Fund. There's $1.7 billion for a new strategy to attract international talent. And the Build Canada Homes program is getting $13 billion over 5 years, including $2.8 billion just for Indigenous housing. Still, the Conservatives and Bloc Québécois are already giving it a thumbs down.
On behalf of all the Canadians who can no longer afford to eat, heat, or house themselves because of Liberal inflation, we Conservatives cannot support this costly Liberal budget.
The Green Party and NDP aren't shutting the door yet.
There's positive and negatives in this budget, and we're going to take a comprehensive look and weigh it out in the aggregate.
Nova Scotia MP Chris D'Entremont announced he is crossing the floor from the Conservatives to the Liberals. In a statement, the Tories criticized D'Entremont for supporting their platform in April, but backing the Liberals just 7 months later. Either way, the government now needs only 2 more votes to pass its budget.
The Public Service is recommending the city start setting money aside in anticipation of snow clearing season. It wants councillors to approve a $7 million over-expenditure. A city report going before the Finance and Economic Development Committee November 10th says the money should be made ready to pay contractors in case there are some heavy snowfalls in the last quarter of the year. In its last multi-year budget, the city added incremental increases to the snow clearing budget, which has historically fallen short. The Public Service says without those changes, it would be asking for an over-expenditure closer to $14.5 million. At least 7 people have been killed and 11 injured after a cargo plane crashed Tuesday night in Louisville, Kentucky, erupting into a fireball. Video capturing the moment at Muhammad Ali Airport when the UPS plane lifted off the ground and crashed moments later. Local authorities say several businesses in the area also caught fire following the crash, sending thick black smoke into the sky. Freedom Convoy organizer Tamara Leach is appealing her mischief conviction from earlier this year. Leach's lawyers say they'll argue that while there was substantial evidence she encouraged protesters in the 2022 mass demonstration to be peaceful, lawful, and safe, there was no evidence linking her to the misdeeds of others. They also say the trial judge failed to give effect to the principle that the Charter guarantee of freedom of expression protects communication that would otherwise be mischief. The second largest city in the Manitoba Capital Region is pulling out of the region's planning group. The city of Selkirk announced Tuesday it has officially left the group. The Capital Planning Region, or CPR, is a group of several municipalities, including Winnipeg, Niverville, Stonewall, Henningley, and Springfield. It was created by the previous PC government. However, the Canoe government recently passed legislation giving municipalities the opportunity to opt in or out.
Leaving CPR, it restores our autonomy. We are free to make, our own land use, I would say our own municipal decisions. It ensures that our economic, environmental, and social development will be made by the locally elected council.
CPR's mandate is to improve social and economic development by coordinating sustainable land use. Even though Selkirk won't be a part of the group, Mayor Larry Johansson says Selkirk will continue working alongside the provincial government. A shortage of prescription painkillers caused by manufacturing disruptions is expected to continue into the new year. Originally, the shortage of drugs containing acetaminophen with oxycodone, including Percocet, was supposed to last until the fall. However, the Canadian Pharmacists Association says medications with codeine, such as Tylenol 3, are back in stock, but supply remains limited for Tylenol 2 and 4. The association says other pain medications are being prescribed as alternatives. You'll have to forgive Winnipeg Jets fans for being a little sleepy over the next couple of weeks. The team is playing a 6-game road series out west that started Tuesday night in Los Angeles. Captain Adam Lowry made his first appearance on the ice after an injury benched the center. The Jets not really on their game in this one, though. The Kings wound up on top, shutting out Winnipeg 3-0. The Jets are staying in the Golden State for their next matchup on Friday. Puck drop against the San Jose Sharks is at 9 p.m. Here's what's happening now in traffic along Portage Avenue at Polo Park. No issues to tell you about at this point in the drive. If you see any problems out there, though, please let us know. Let's go now to Fort White Alive, where our Ainsley McPhail is live this morning. Hello, Ainsley.
Good morning, Michelle. We're at the Buffalo Crossing space, and it's absolutely beautiful. If you haven't had the opportunity to come by yet, definitely do. Fall Forest Frolics. I had to say that one first because I knew that I was going to mess it up. So much alliteration. That is an event that they do quite frequently here at Fort White, and it allows people to just walk and enjoy nature. The perfect space for it, whether you're cycling through the area or even getting on the water, which I guess that might be changing in the next little bit. Also, if you want to meet Santa Claus, yeah, kids, Santa will be here. Those tickets are selling quite quickly, and you can even take a really stunning picture with him as well. This location, I did mention, they've got a sale. Speaking of Christmas, we're going to give you a bit of a gift guide, and I understand a sale is coming up too, so lots to think about there. Kids for winter camps, Giving Tuesday, really getting people involved in nature. There is a bus loop here too, which is awesome, so plenty of access for Winnipeggers.
Thank you, Ainsley. Thank you so much. I once bought a pair of leather gloves from the gift shop at Fort White Alive, and they were fabulous. I wore them for years. Don't quite need the gloves yet, though, Catherine.
No, but you will note I've upgraded my coat a little bit. That's to reflect we are on a bit of a downward trend, Rochelle, so keep those leather gloves handy because we're starting to feel a lot more like November out here. It's -4 with that wind chill, though it's feeling more like -10. 1 or 2 clouds, though they're starting to clear nicely. Those winds out of the west-northwest, pressure rising, humidity sits at 90%. So a rather uniform forecast ahead for much of Manitoba. Lots of sunshine on the way, clear skies for us here in the south, more in the way of sun and cloud into the north. There is a slight chance, very slight once again, for some flurries or mixed precipitation in the northeast. Likely you're staying dry. Temperatures in that region peaking maybe a few degrees below freezing. Quite a bit cooler, though, in Churchill in the -teens. For us here in the south, we have above seasonal values again. For Winnipeg, that's 6 degrees. 2 is what's normal. Meanwhile, winds will ramp up a little bit out of the northwest at 20 kilometers per hour. Overnight, we're starting to see a Alberta clipper track into the province, most notably entering in the parklands in the southwest, and it'll move across southern Manitoba, likely beginning with some flurry activity and then transitioning into rain-snow mix into the afternoon. And that's when temperatures also start to take a bit of a slide, though not terrible. 4 degrees is our high tomorrow. Alrighty, we're going to take a break, but stay with us. So much more Your Morning Winnipeg still to come.
Weather is brought to you by ABC Fire and Safety, your CO2 refill store.
Good morning. It is 6:15. Business owners and residents are upset over expropriation plans to build a new highway interchange near Oak Bluff. An apiary owner says waiting to find out what's happening is casting a long shadow over the business's future. CTV's Joseph Bernacki has more.
The best way I can describe it, it's a gray cloud that just won't leave right now.
Kon Peseshnikov and his wife Julie have created a buzz here for over a decade. Bee-Boys is the first meadery to use their own honey in the province.
We care deeply about our bees as well as our family-run operation. We love working with our kids as well as our employees. We are a real hive.
But the dream they've built may soon be over as the province prepares to take their land for a new highway interchange at the junction of Provincial Trunk Highway 3 and the Perimeter. The former PC government told the family in 2023 their 11 acres were at risk, but they say they haven't heard from the NDP government since.
It's been very, very challenging. A lot of emails have been sent unanswered. The neighbors in the area have a lot of concerns, and no one really knows what's going on.
Lisa Naylor, Minister of Transportation and Infrastructure, says they and 18 other property owners will be given fair market value for their land and that consultations are ongoing.
I can't imagine how hard that must be for folks who see their land being procured for highway infrastructure. It happens across the province whenever we need to create our highways to be safer.
But that's cold comfort to Julie, who says beekeeping is a part of their family legacy.
Kon and I have been married for 35 years, and we created our home here. We brought up our 3 kids here. We are really trying to grow this small family business. We just want this to survive.
Joseph Bernacki, CTV News, Winnipeg.
Prime Minister Mark Carney has presented his government's first federal budget. In it, there's a projected deficit of $78.3 billion, largely attributed to big-ticket projects.
We've got a couple of great investments here in Manitoba with the GATE project in Winnipeg, with the Prairie Innovation Centre in Brandon. These are ways that the federal government can use some of these infrastructure dollars to send a signal that they have our ag industries back.
Premier Wampanoag congratulated Carney on his first budget, saying he's happy to see the Port of Churchill project mentioned in the document. However, Canoe says there was a missed opportunity for healthcare, noting a bilateral funding agreement worth $150 million is expiring next year. Winnipeg Mayor Scott Gillingham is pleased to see the infrastructure fund and is hoping money will be available for widening Kenaston, extending Chief Peguis Trail, and the third phase of the North End Water Pollution Control Centre.
Well, I see this as an opportunity to get the federal funding for the third phase, which will be really critical to keeping water and sewer rates affordable for Winnipeggers, and that's vital.
The Liberal government is also pledging nearly $82 billion over 5 years on defense and security. Gillingham says Winnipeg is ready for that investment, pointing to Canadian Air Force Base 17 Wing and the city's aerospace industry. More federal budget coverage can be found at ctvnewswinnipeg.ca. A Canadian is reportedly among at least 7 climbers killed after an avalanche on a Himalayan mountain peak in Nepal. This video shows the aftermath of the avalanche. The expedition agency 7 Summit Treks says 5 foreigners and 2 Nepalis died. Rescuers have located 2 bodies but are still searching for the remaining victims, who may be buried in up to 5 meters of snow. It was a good night for Democrats in the first election night in the U.S. since last year's presidential vote.
The future is in our hands. My friends, we have toppled a political dynasty.
Zoran Mamdani beat former Governor Andrew Cuomo to win the race for mayor of New York City. Mamdani becomes the first Muslim and youngest person to lead the biggest city in the U.S. He's 34 years old. He ran on an anti-Trump and anti-establishment campaign, promising free childcare, a rent freeze, and a corporate tax hike. Democrats are projected to win other key races. Voters in California have voted in favor of redrawing the state's electoral map. The measure is the Democrats' answer to redistricting in Republican-controlled states. In Virginia, Democrat Abigail Spanberger was voted in as governor. She becomes the first woman to lead the state, and the Democrats held on to the state house in New Jersey, with Mickey Sherrill winning the race for governor. The Blue Bombers won't be there, but Winnipeg's Princess Auto Stadium will be packed for the 2025 Grey Cup game. The CFL has announced the big game is officially sold out. Organizers say tickets to nearly all the Grey Cup festival events, including the CFL Awards and Gala Dinner, are also gone. It's another win for the Winnipeg Football Club, which sold out every home game this season. The Grey Cup is taking place Sunday, November 16th, and if you can't be there in person, you can still watch it right here on CTV or on TSN.
Traffic is brought to you by Curtis Carpets, Manitoba's flooring experts.
Some road closures to remind you about this morning. The eastbound curb lane on Route 90 will be closing today between Aguez and Selkirk. Expect intermittent closures on Chelsea Avenue between Henderson and Watt. The eastbound curb lane on Patridge will be closing at 9:30 from Andrews to Powers. If you have any other traffic tips, please share them with us by texting us at 10400.
The Bathfitter Live Eye is brought to you by Bathfitter, your bath and shower experts for more than 40 years.
Skies are starting to clear out across Winnipeg, setting the stage for a sunny day ahead. Still quite chilly out there at -5. That wind chill making it feel more like -10. Winds are fairly light out of the west-northwest at 13 clicks. Pressure rising, humidity at 93%. So yes, good amount of sunshine on the way and decent temperatures as well. Not quite as warm as we saw yesterday. Certainly we're off to a bit more of a sluggish start. I'm just going to get all the way out of the frame here so everyone can see. -6 in Brandon, -4 in Dauphin, over in Fisher Branch -3, hovering at 0 in Portage and Gimli. To the north, temperatures quite cool in Churchill and Thompson at -9. Lynn Lake also a little bit chilly this morning at -7. Warmer in the Paw at -1. Not a lot to show you on our radar as we have so much sunshine and clear skies on the way. A little bit more in the way of cloud coverage to the north, as that region is in store for more of a mix of sun and cloud. As you put the kids on the bus, it'll be sunny, but not necessarily very warm. 1 degree as they get into class, 5 as they take lunch. and then get up to our high as they head home at 6 degrees under those clear skies. Partnering with that, we have some decent northwesterly winds at 20 kilometers per hour. Overnight, winds ease a little bit. Skies begin to clear over with temperatures dipping down to -4. Then we are tracking a Alberta clipper that's pushing in from the west, bringing likely rainfall overnight to the Parkland region and coming to us tomorrow, first likely in the form of snow and then maybe mixing in as temperatures warm into the afternoon into rain. Temperatures still above seasonal, 3 degrees when 2 is what's typical. But from there, we really see a turning point in terms of our temperatures as we start to see temperatures that are much cooler than what we're used to this time of year, to the tune of -4 under those clear sunny skies on Friday. Similar on Saturday under a mix of sun and cloud. Your Skywatch picture of the day, this stunner was taken near Selkirk of the Northern Lights. Thanks for Shannon for snapping that. And keep your weather pictures coming to Winnipeg Weather at ctv.ca.
We will never forget your bravery, your strength, your sacrifice.
The very best and bravest of our nation. These heroic souls stood on guard for freedom.
Join the CTV News team and me as Canada comes together to remember.
Remembrance Day 2025, Tuesday morning at 10 Eastern, 7 Pacific on CTV.
Good morning. This robot could change how buildings are made on Earth and maybe even the moon. Charlotte is a 3D printing robot. It's built like a spider, which allows it to climb and build at the same time. Its creators say Charlotte can also collect dirt off the ground and turn it into printing materials. Being a one-stop shop for construction can make Charlotte the ideal tool for building in space. If you think chicken is expensive now, just wait. When the price of beef soared, a lot of beef lovers turned to chicken instead. As CTV's Jonathan McInnes shows us, that shift in demand will likely have us paying more for chicken.
The Gateway Meat Market is busy most days. The line tends to slow significantly near the protein section.
I would say chicken is one of our most sought after items.
With beef prices high, more people are putting chicken in their carts.
Big fan of chicken, so I don't eat a whole lot of it. But again, for the chicken legs and stuff like that, I go for them here.
The market's move toward chicken is causing a problem with its availability.
We have noticed a little bit that supply is a little bit down. We buy everything locally from Berwick, Eden Valley.
A lot of consumers are looking for different sources of protein, and there's just no canned chicken. Supplies are really low, so we've been importing way more chicken coming from the U.S., Chile mostly, but mostly from the U.S.
Still not enough to meet the demand, according to the head of Dalhousie University's Agri-Foods Lab.
Because of supply management, you have high tariffs and you need the government to actually allow more products into the market. But there's been so much lobbying going on to protect our market that really a lot of politicians are just concerned and they don't want to do anything about that.
Charles Lebois says wholesale prices have already doubled and major jumps are expected over the next several months.
But it's likely going to exceed 5%. We're expecting probably chicken prices to increase by as much as 20 to 25%.
The goal now for McKay is to try to keep her prices as low as possible.
We have always problem solved, month by month as markets change, but we tend to be able, like I said, to get creative and get flexible and pull from a budget somewhere else just to help our customers out with a staple that we know that they need to feed their families with.
A challenge that's becoming more and more difficult. Jonathan McInnes, CTV News, Westfall, Nova Scotia.
Your Morning Winnipeg. Coffee is brought to you by Robin's Donuts, your favorite stop.
Casting our eye to the sky, clearing out there with our temperatures currently sitting at -5. That wind chill, though, makes it feel more like -10. Not happy to have that wind chill back, let me tell you. Winds, meanwhile, out of the west-northwest at 13 clicks. Pressure rising. Humidity sits at 93%. I shouldn't complain because we've really had a gorgeous fall. I used to say that Manitoba falls feel like a week long, but we've had some above seasonal temperatures, lots of sunshine, and that trend will continue today, as evidenced by our radar. Not a lot of cloud coverage in the south, a little bit more in the north, and in fact, Churchill, you're starting off with some snowfall this morning. Not going to be the case for us. We're getting up to a high of 6. 2 is what's typical for this time of year. Meanwhile, winds will be ramping up out of the northwest at 20 kilometers per hour under those mainly sunny skies. Overnight tonight, temperatures starting to dip even lower as we've been seeing this year, -4 degrees. Winds shifting and easing out of the south at 15 kilometers per hour. Couple clouds start to roll in, setting the stage for a bit of a mucky day to come tomorrow. That's because an Alberta clipper is pushing in from the west, bringing mixed precipitation to much of southern Manitoba, Winnipeg included. We'll get up to a high of 3 degrees. Likely it'll start off under those colder temperatures as snow and transition to rain into the afternoon. Winds, meanwhile, will be decently strong out of the southeast at 20 kilometers per hour. From there, we're really getting a pushback from Mother Nature in terms of our temperatures. -4 degrees on Friday with lots of sunshine to enjoy. Not dipping tremendously overnight at -8. Then into the weekend, the heat not rebounding at all, really. -4 degrees on Saturday under a mix of sun and cloud. A little bit warmer on Sunday, hovering at freezing, but we kick off next work week under the freezing mark.
A child care center in Winnipeg was sent into lockdown as gunshots rang out in the West Broadway area Tuesday morning. Police say multiple units were sent to the area of Furby Street and Cornish Avenue near Misericordia Health Center after several reports of shots fired. Spent shell casings could be seen littering the sidewalk as police investigated. A spokesperson says a female was arrested but couldn't provide their name or age or say whether they had been charged. No injuries were reported. A warning before this next story. The video shows a plane crash and may be disturbing to some viewers. The U.S. National Transportation Safety Board is sending more than 24 investigators to try to figure out why a UPS cargo plane went down in Louisville, Kentucky, Tuesday. Officials say at least 7 people are dead. At least another 11 others are injured. Amy Kiley has more on what happened.
We said, what's all that smoke? And we noticed the smoke coming in the sky.
We could see it through our windows of the plane.
Officials report multiple casualties after a cargo plane crashed near Louisville Muhammad Ali International Airport yesterday evening. They say it went down shortly after takeoff, leaving a fiery trail of destruction through businesses and roads. Officials say 3 crew members were on board and at least 4 others died on the ground.
This is an incredibly difficult day for so many people, for our entire city. And once again, we will be praying and doing everything we can to support the families, the friends, everyone who has been impacted this.
Officials say the aircraft is an MD-11 freight plane owned by UPS.
UPS asked me to convey the same message this evening. They are going to be doing everything they can to support those that have been impacted by this horrible tragedy.
The fire department chief says hundreds of firefighters worked to contain the blaze, which had spread over a large area. The mayor says the airport is expected to reopen today.
In this tragedy, Louisville will come together. Louisville will show up and be there to support our fellow residents who are struggling at this time.
I'm Amy Kiley reporting.
A man has died at a protest camp set up outside the BC ostrich farm, which is fighting a cull of its birds. RCMP say they were called to investigate a sudden death around 7 a.m. local time after members of the police liaison team found an unresponsive man on the ground at Universal Ostrich Farm. Police on site initiated CPR. The man has been identified, but police are still working to notify his next of kin before releasing his name. Police say there's nothing to suggest the man's death was suspicious. Chrysler is recalling some 370,000 Jeep plug-in hybrids, 20,000 of them in Canada. A faulty battery can fail and lead to a fire. Owners are being advised to park them outside and away from structures. The recall affects Jeep Wranglers model years 2020 to 2025 and Jeep Grand Cherokee's model years 2022 to 2026. There have been at least 19 fires and 1 injury potentially related to the issue. The U.S. Transportation Secretary is warning of mass chaos in the skies if the government shutdown continues.
You'll see mass cancellations, and you may see us close certain parts of the airspace because we just cannot manage it because we don't have the air traffic controllers.
There have already been many delays at airports across the U.S., some several hours long. That's because the Federal Aviation Administration slows down or stops traffic temporarily when there is a shortage of controllers. Officials are warning this could get worse if the shutdown continues and people are forced to work without pay. Aviation employees have already missed one paycheck and are on track to lose another. A newly merged economic agency says it's got a plan to boost the Winnipeg's economy, host more events, and bring thousands of new jobs to our city.
These are the real things that we have that set us apart from other places in the country.
Winnipeg Economic Development and Tourism has launched a new strategy, the first event under its new unified name. It aims to create a $3.4 billion impact on Winnipeg's GDP through capital investments and bring in 11,000 new jobs. Another objective is to attract more events to create a $530 million impact. The 5-year plan lays out 3 goals: boost competitiveness and increase investment, elevate Winnipeg's global profile, and get community partners and leaders working together to drive economic growth.
Today is about the multi-year, 5-year strategy that charts our path forward. The world is increasingly competitive. Canada's changing, Manitoba's changing, and Winnipeg has changed. And so how do we respond to that as an agency, as the lead agency for economic development and tourism within the city of Winnipeg?
Winnipeg Economic Development and Tourism is a new agency announced earlier this fall, combining economic development and tourism under one banner. Here's what's happening now in traffic on the Norwood Bridge. Looks pretty smooth to start off this Wednesday morning. No issues to tell you about at this point in the drive. If you see problems, let us know, please. And here's a look at your gas prices. The Canadian average is $1.35. The provincial average is lower at $1.26. In Winnipeg, the average is $1.23, and the lowest price in the city is $1.25. All this info is on GasBuddy.com.
The Price at the Pump is brought to you by the Kidney Foundation. Help by donating your card today.
Yeah, Ainsley McPhail is live at Fort White Alive. There's lots going on there to celebrate fall and heading into the Christmas season. We'll have more details. Stay with us.
Weather is brought to you by Canadian Footwear, helping you find the perfect fit.
It's a cool and crisp start to your Wednesday morning here in Winnipeg. We're at -5 degrees. That pesky wind chill, though, making it feel more like -10. It's clear. The winds are out of the west-northwest at 13 kilometers per hour. Barometric pressure is rising, humidity at 93%. So I'm going to start in the north and work our way down. Much of the region is in store for a mix of sun and cloud, but once again, the northeast carries a very slight risk of some rainfall or thunderstorm, or rainfall or flurry activity. I wish thunderstorms. Likely, though, you're going to stay dry with that mix of sun and cloud. Temperatures peaking a few degrees below freezing, very typical November values. Churchill, though, quite a bit cooler at about -12 degrees, and you're starting the day off with some flurries. For us here in the south, clearer skies, decently strong northwesterly winds at 20 kilometers per hour. Another round of above seasonal temperatures. For us in Winnipeg, that's 6. 2 is what's typical. Overnight, however, we start to see things maybe take a dip. Temperatures getting cooler than they usually or have been the last couple of days. For us here in Winnipeg, that's -4 degrees. And then tomorrow, Alberta Clipper brings a good chance of some mixed precipitation with temperatures staying above seasonal. Alrighty, we're going to take a break. Not a break. Excuse me. We're going over to our own Ainsley McPhail, the opposite of a break, down at Fort White Alive. How's it going out there, Ainsley?
It's great, Catherine. Thank you so much. Mark Saunders joins us now to tell us all about what people can expect for this holiday season. So Santa Claus is coming to town, but he's coming to Fort White Alive.
That's right. We have our very popular photo program coming up, Santa in the Forest. Tickets go on sale tomorrow at noon at fortwhite.org. And it's really unique photos with Santa in the forest, as it says, with hay bales and snow. It's something that the children can give their holiday wishes to Santa and have a nice photo memory taken.
Yeah, great for the parents as well. And this is something that always sells out too. So make sure on Thursday at noon you get those tickets. Members, they're available now. Okay. Okay, I don't want to get this wrong. Frolicking in the Forest. Tell me what it is. Tell me how we can enjoy it. Why did you name it that?
Well, over the next couple of Saturdays, we have something called Fall Forest Frolics. That's how it's said, Fall Forest Frolics. It's a bit of a guided hike, but it's a family-friendly fall forest walk. A lot of F's in that. And it ends with a marshmallow roast. So it should be quite nice, and I'd encourage everybody to come and join in.
And for the folks who haven't had the opportunity to enjoy this brand new location, many have over the summer, what can they expect in the area?
Well, we're in Buffalo Crossing. This is the Paul Albrechtsen Visitor Center, and it's a brand new, huge facility. It hosts conferences, events, board meetings, and it's just basically a brand new southern gateway to our site. For the surrounding community, it's an easy access point. And there's a beautiful bridge, which you might be able to see later, beautiful bridge over a lake. And as you can see, a gorgeous gift shop behind us too. And we'll have Bonnie coming up later, our gift shop manager, to give a bit more info about that too.
Thank you so much, Mark. Hey, he can just preview all the segments. I'll just stand there here and look here. See you soon.
Looking at the early markets, the Dow Jones is trending lower overnight. The NASDAQ and S&P index are also slipping. The loonie is trading below 71 cents U.S. The Hang Seng made a small adjustment. The Nikkei index plunged a little under 1,300 points. Good morning, it is 6:46. 3 people are facing charges after officers with the Manitoba First Nation Police Service were allegedly shot at during a chase Monday. RCMP say it all started around 4 a.m. when officers in Sandy Bay First Nation tried to stop a stolen vehicle. MFNP says as it was driving away, someone inside the vehicle shot at them. Mounties were then called in to help. About 10 hours later, the vehicle was found and brought to a stop near Silver Ridge, east of Alonsa. A man and 2 women between the ages of 21 and 35, all from Sandy Bay, were arrested. The current Manitoba Legislative Assembly session is supposed to end tomorrow, but MLAs may have to stay longer if the governing NDP isn't able to pass all of its bills before then.
Significant amount of work has to occur on Thursday.
That work includes Bill 48, the drug detention bill. The PCs want a number of amendments added to the legislation, saying they're in favor of the bill, but want to make sure it's done right.
And Manitobans can let me know, as the leader of the Progressive Conservative Party, where we are wrong in saying that we do not want this in front of a school, in a daycare, by a senior home, that there should be consultation and there should be reporting on this.
NDP House Leader Nahanni Fontaine says the current session will continue as long as it takes. The Public Service is recommending the city start setting money aside in anticipation of snow clearing season. It wants councillors to approve a $7 million over expenditure. A city report going before the Finance and Economic Development Committee November 10th says the money should be made ready to pay contractors in case there are some heavy snowfalls in the last quarter of the year. In its last multi-year budget, the city added incremental increases to the snow clearing budget, which has historically fallen short. The Public Service says without those changes, it would be asking for an over expenditure closer to $14.5 million. Good news for a Winnipeg electric vehicle owner who had been denied a provincial rebate on his Jeep for months. As Harrison Shin shows us, as some Manitobans make the switch to electric vehicles and hope to cash in on the rebate, the devil is in the details.
Luigi Iafola picked this pre-owned 2021 Jeep Wrangler Unlimited Rubicon plug-in hybrid in order to make his daily commute cheaper.
With this vehicle, I figure I had the best of both worlds, being a plug-in hybrid and then being able to take it on long trips if I needed so.
One of the things that drew him to the Jeep was Manitoba's electric vehicle rebate program, offering up to $4,000 back. He did his homework and the model he bought was eligible according to the province's own website. After the sale in April, he went to Manitoba Public Insurance to check his VIN.
I tried to punch it in, and then it said that it came back invalid, that my vehicle was too old.
But this April 30th, 2025 list of eligible vehicles shows his model. He wrote several emails asking for the $2,500 rebate to be honored, but they said no because only vehicles younger than 4 model years can be claimed. So CTV News asked the province, and he got the result he wanted. A spokesperson said, quote, Manitoba Environment and Climate Change has reached out to the individual in question to advise him that his purchase remains eligible for the rebate. Afola is happy things worked out for him, but he would like to see some changes to the program.
I would say go back maybe to 5 years and make it reasonable, because if you're going to put a certain price limit on it, cars are getting more expensive, especially EVs. I understand it based on budgets and funds. They only have so much that they can support. It's great they're doing this, but I would like to see it expanded a little bit more.
Harrison Shin, CTV News, Winnipeg.
Some road closures to remind you about this morning. The eastbound curb lane on Route 90 will be closing today between Igaz and Selkirk. Expect intermittent closures on Chelsea Avenue between Henderson and Watt. The eastbound curb lane on Partridge will be closing at 9:30 from Andrews to Powers. If you have any other traffic tips to share, please text them to us.
Casting our eye to the sky, it's -5 degrees to kick off this Wednesday, but that wind chill making it feel more like -10. Clear skies, west-northwesterly winds at 13 kilometers per hour, giving our camera a little shake. The barometric pressure is rising, the humidity sitting at 93%. So good news, actually mostly just good news. Let's go with the good news first. Lots of sunshine on the way to much of the province. Very good news. Clearer conditions to kick us off here in southern Manitoba, where there's a bit more dense clouds to the north, as will be the case through much of the day. Still some good amount of opportunity for sunshine, though. There is a slight chance of some mixed precipitation in Island Lake. Churchill has already seen the flurries this morning. Thompson also runs the risk, likely though it's going to be a mix of sun and cloud. Cooler temperatures at -6 degrees in Thompson, -10 in Gillam, -12 in Churchill. Island Lake, though, sitting pretty at 0. To the northwest, a little bit more in the way of cloud coverage for you. Temperatures warmer, though. 1 degree in the Pond, Flin Flon, 0 in Norway House. Lynn Lake also has a chance of some mixed precipitation today at -5. In southwestern Manitoba, lots of sunshine on the way. Temperatures at 5 degrees, some northwesterly winds at 20 kilometers per hour. For us here in our neck of the woods, apologies, Portage-la Prairie should not be -7. It should just be 7. Yes, above seasonal values. 4 is what's typical for Winnipeg. We're getting up to 6 degrees today with that sunshine. Northwestern Ontario, cloudier skies in Kenora, more of a mix of sun and cloud in Dryden. Highs of 3 and 4 degrees there, respectively, 6 in Fort Francis. Overnight tonight, temperatures start to dip a little bit lower than what we've been used to. We're looking at -4 as we get joined by a couple clouds. And then into tomorrow, we're tracking an Alberta Clipper, likely bringing mixed precipitation. Under cooler morning conditions, it'll likely start off as flurries or snow and then switch to rain into the afternoon. Highs decent, though, of 3 degrees. That precipitation could hold on overnight with temperatures dipping down to -4. And from there, we are under a very cold air mass. -4 on Friday. Lots of sunshine, though, not doing much to heat us up. And into the weekend, temperatures not improving a ton.
Mark Carney's Liberals tabled their budget Tuesday. They're promising $141 billion in new measures over the next 5 years, which the government plans to offset with $51.2 billion in savings. CTV's Abigail Beeman has more on where the cuts will come from and the impact.
In 1995, he presented his budget.
The 1995 Liberal budget is remembered for its cuts. No accident. Today's finance minister referenced it, introducing his new plan.
$60 billion in saving over 5 years.
As expected, public service cuts topped the list.
In a word, it's bad. It's bad for Canadians.
The government plans to cut 16,000 jobs and hopes incentivizing early retirement, attrition, and voluntary leaves will shed another 12,000 for a total of 28,000 jobs by 2028-29.
When Mark Carney and the Liberals ran, they talked about caps, not cuts. What happened to that? What happened to caps, not cuts? We are now seeing cuts, so they're walking that back.
But no word on how much money the moves will save overall.
No money is assigned to it, so that's a little bit vague and somewhat disappointing.
The budget includes a breakdown of a further $22 billion in savings, including other cuts over 4 years. $5.8 billion saved by aligning RCMP disability benefits with the Consumer Price Index. A whopping $4.4 billion by dropping the price the government reimburses for medical cannabis benefits for RCMP and veterans from $8.50 to $6 a gram. $2.7 billion in foreign aid cuts, $1.1 billion in savings to get rid of aging defense fleets, and chopping the Trudeau-era $2 billion tree planting program, not even half planted, will save $0.2 billion.
It's even less than what we thought based on what the government had said before.
Going back to the Prime Minister's language of sacrifice and austerity, experts tell CTV News this budget does not cut as much as some had predicted, but say it is more of an austerity budget than we've seen in a few years. Abigail Beeman, CTV News, Ottawa.
Remembrance Day is 1 week away, and while the most notable celebration will happen at the War Monument in Ottawa on November 11th, the lead up to that day comes with several opportunities to pay respect. CTV's Sean Varden was at the National War Museum for a special ceremony Tuesday.
It's an annual tradition marking the beginning of Veterans Week.
And bringing together youth, cadets, as you see all around, along with veterans. And it's about carrying that torch of remembrance that we all have an obligation to carry forward.
A candlelight tribute put on by the Canadian War Museum and Veterans Affairs Canada to honor fallen heroes. This year's features a Canadian poppy blanket, brought here from Winnipeg, 8,000 hand-stitched symbols of remembrance made by people from across the country.
We do small events at school growing up. You know, we may go to Remembrance Day ceremonies, but this was a way for me and people like me and other people across Canada to actually show our thanks, and that's why it's so important to me.
The blanket isn't the only special addition to this year's ceremony. The Royal Canadian Mint unveiling a new $2 coin commemorating the 25th anniversary of the repatriation of Canada's unknown soldier. The special coin was designed by the same artist who created the bronze work on the unknown soldier's tomb.
This is the most appropriate place to unveil this, to give the people, give a little something back to the people who serve us so much by letting them see this coin firsthand.
Cadet groups and local youth paying tribute to the service, sacrifice, and resilience of those who put their lives on the line for Canada. On duty to place candles from those in the crowd who have served.
As I saw the cadets going up carrying those candles, they represent so many different ethnicities and spirituality and backgrounds, and so it just really shows how diverse Canada really is.
Sean Varden, CTV News.
All right, we're going to take a break here. We'll be back after this with your 7 o'clock headlines. Stay with us. It's Wednesday, November the 5th. Today, an uncertain future. Why business owners are upset by plans for a new highway interchange. Plus, opting out. Which Manitoba city has officially left the capital planning region? And a positive impact. Why listening to music could have some health benefits. Your Morning Winnipeg starts right now. Good morning, Manitoba, at 7 o'clock on your Wednesday morning. Thank you so much for being with us here on Your Morning Winnipeg. We have a lot of reaction throughout the show today to yesterday's federal budget. The first from Prime Minister Mark Carney. We're going to find out a little bit more what it means to our country, as well as the political environment in which it unfolds. And then we're also going to find out what it means to our pocketbooks here in Manitoba. So stay with us for that. Ainsley McPhail's live at Fort Weta Live this morning as well. It's a good day to be outside. Enjoy it while you can.
Great day to be outside. And yes, to your point, Rochelle, these above seasonal temperatures, the sunshine even, is not going to be terribly long-lived. Look at that beautiful sunrise. It's -5 degrees with that wind chill. Feels more like -10. It's clear out there. The winds are out of the west-northwest at 13 kilometers per hour. Barometric pressure is rising. Humidity sits at 93%. So yes, sunshine on the way to much of the province, particularly in the south. We're dealing with clear skies to kick off the day. That will be the case. A little bit more in the way of cloud coverage, particularly in that northeast corner. more. However, we're also tracking the possibility of some flurry activity coming in the next day. So for starters, we just have this kind of system, very horizontal if you were diagonal, more like it, bringing a slight chance of some flurry activity to the northeast. Likely you're going to be dealing with a mix of sun and cloud, cool temperatures below seasonal and below freezing. Then if I move out of the way, you start to see what I'm talking about, this Alberta clipper developing here. You're seeing shades as the evening progresses of both blue and green, meaning there's opportunity for both snow and rainfall. So it's likely going to track into the parkland tomorrow, beginning as snowfall under those cooler conditions and then turning into rain as the system pushes out overnight Friday and moves into the south. Meanwhile, the north begins the day on Friday with a very cloudy sky, setting the stage for a rather snowy weekend for you as well through much of the northeast. For us here in Winnipeg, we're getting up to a high of 6 degrees today. 2 is what's typical, really shortchanging us there. We've not been getting close to that for the last couple weeks, but that's all about to change. Overnight, temperatures dip down to -4, and then with that mix of rain and snow, we're getting down to 3 degrees. Your weather art of the day drawn by 9-year-old Ryder from Wayota School. We have a whole heap of these photos from Wayota School. We're excited to show you. So if you have any photos of your kids' weather-themed artwork, email them our way at winnipegweather@ctv.ca, because we are going to be featuring one every day here on Your Morning Winnipeg.
The Weather Art of the Day is brought to you by 103.1 Virgin Radio.
Business owners and residents are upset over expropriation plans to build a new highway interchange near Oak Bluff. An apiary owner says waiting to find out what's happening is casting a long shadow over the business's future. CTV's Joseph Bernacki has more.
The best way I can describe it, it's a gray cloud that just won't leave right now.
Kon Pasechnikov and his wife Julie have created a buzz here for over a decade. Bee-Boys is the first meadery to use their own honey in the province.
We care deeply about our bees as well as our family-run operation. We love working with our kids as well as our employees. We are a real hive.
But the dream they've built may soon be over as the province prepares to take their land for a new highway interchange at the junction of Provincial Trunk Highway 3 and the Perimeter. The former PC government told the family in 2023 their 11 acres were at risk, but they say they haven't heard from the NDP government since.
It's been very, very challenging. A lot of emails have been sent unanswered. The neighbors in the area have a lot of concerns, and no one really knows what's going on.
Lisa Naylor, Minister of Transportation and Infrastructure, says they and 18 other property owners will be given fair market value for their land and that consultations are ongoing.
I can't imagine how hard that must be for folks who see their land being procured for highway infrastructure. It happens across the province whenever we need to create our highways to be safer.
But that's cold comfort to Julie, who says beekeeping is a part of their family legacy.
Kon and I have been married for 35 years, and we created our home here. We brought up our 3 kids here. We are really trying to grow this small family business. We just want this to survive.
Joseph Bernacki, CTV News, Winnipeg.
The second largest city in the Manitoba Capital Region is pulling out of the region's planning group. The city of Selkirk announced Tuesday it has officially left the group. The Capital Planning Region, or CPR, is a group of several municipalities, including Winnipeg, Niverville, Stonewall, Headingley, and Springfield. It was created by the previous PC government. However, the Canoe government recently passed legislation giving municipalities the opportunity to opt in or out.
By leaving CPR, it restores our autonomy. We are free to make, our own land use, I would say our own municipal decisions. It ensures that our economic, environmental, and social development will be made by the locally elected council.
CPR's mandate is to improve social and economic development by coordinating sustainable land use. Even though Selkirk won't be a part of the group, Mayor Larry Johansson says Selkirk will continue working alongside the provincial government. An investigation is underway after a Toronto synagogue is vandalized for the 10th time this year.
There are always people in society who will take the low road. So this is that. So we should not be deterred or discouraged from taking the high road that we're trying to pursue.
Surveillance footage shows a suspect believed to be in his late teens or early 20s using a hammer to smash 4 windows. A spokesperson for the temple says the suspect scaled a fence that was erected around the building through the federal government's Canada Community Security Program grant. The synagogue is calling for action from all levels of government to address hatred towards the Jewish community. Police are investigating the incident as hate-motivated mischief. Manitobans in the manufacturing industry could see some tax relief when they make their next purchase. The province has introduced legislation turning part of an existing manufacturing investment tax credit into a retail sales tax exemption. It means if a business buys qualified machinery or equipment, they would get an immediate reduction on sales tax they would have ordinarily had to pay. The Canute government says this will ease upfront costs for businesses. A program aimed at catching reading difficulties in young children is being made permanent. Bill 225 passed its third reading unanimously at the Manitoba Legislature Tuesday. It means all students in kindergarten to grade 4 will be screened for learning disabilities such as dyslexia twice a year. Teachers will be required to report the results to parents within 30 days of the test.
Unfortunately, children can slip through the cracks right now, and what's often referred to as a wait to fail model, where we're waiting and hoping that they grow out of their reading difficulties. That happened with both of my children. I think if this would have been in place in kindergarten, they would have been flagged almost as soon as they walked into school, and we would have been able to provide them the support they needed.
Education Minister Tracy Schmidt says she'll work with school divisions and other groups to determine what specific screening tools will be used. It's expected to be in place in time for the new school year next fall. If you listen to music often, you may be doing yourself a bigger favor than you realize. Australian researchers conducted a study recently and found people who listen to music regularly have lower rates of cognitive decline. They looked at more than 10,000 adults aged 70 and older and found those who listened to music daily had a 39% reduced rate of dementia. Playing musical instruments was also associated with a 35% lower rate of dementia. Researchers note the study shows correlation, not causation. Here's what's happening now on Keniston Boulevard. It looks like a smooth drive so far in this part of the city, but look at that gorgeous sky. It's lighting up for us this morning. If you see any problems out there, please let us know.
Weather is brought to you by Garage Masters, your complete garage specialists.
There continues to be plenty of reaction to Prime Minister Mark Carney's first ever federal budget. It includes $90 billion in net new spending over the next 5 years with pro-business measures meant to increase productivity. Now, it also details a ballooning deficit projected to be $78.3 billion for 2025-26. However, there is very little in the budget aimed at the cost of living concerns for everyday Canadians. U.S. President Donald Trump's key tool for deploying tariffs will face a critical legal test in the Supreme Court south of the border today. In a post on social media, Trump called the hearing, quote, one of the most important in the history of the country. The top U.S. court will hear from states and businesses that argue Trump's use of a national security statute to hit nearly every nation with tariffs goes beyond the powers of the president. And Australia has added Reddit and Kik to its list of social media platforms that must ban children under the age of 16 from having accounts. The country's communications minister is saying today that the platforms will join others like Facebook and TikTok in enforcing the rule starting December 10th. Platforms failing to comply could face fines of up to $45 million Canadian. Those are your morning business headlines for BNN Bloomberg. I'm Matt Scooby.
Let's go back now to Ainsley McPhail, who's live at Fort White Alive. It's such a beautiful place to start your day, Ainsley.
Rochelle, you have to look at the supermoon because we looked it up. National Geographic told us that's what it's called this morning. It is big, bright, and beautiful, and Fort White Alive is the perfect place to take it in. Oh, look at the way it's hitting the water with the geese. It's absolutely stunning, and these are some of the views that you could expect to see when you come here. So whether it's for their fall forest frolics or if it's for getting pictures with Santa Claus, that's coming up. It's usually a sellout, so definitely get your tickets when you can. Also, during the winter break, if you're thinking ahead and you've got some kiddos, ages up to age 11, they've got these winter summer camps. So we're going to be learning about what the kids will be doing on those days. And I have to show you something, because if you want to get your holiday gifts early, I pulled something from there. Hawkins Cheesies, baby. Look at that. It's a keychain that's like a cheesy, so it might be a gift to myself, but look how real that is.
I probably would have eaten it by now. It looks really delicious. Thank you, Ainsley. All right, let's go to the rooftop. Yeah, I noticed that moon this morning. It is a stunner.
Our Hawkins cheesie's not the best.
Oh, they are.
I'm just distracted by that wonderful gift idea from our own Ainsley McPhail. Yeah, it is looking lovely out there with that sunrise, almost like Hawkins cheesy orange. Really trying to tie us back. It's -5 degrees, so a little bit brisker than we've been seeing. -10 with the wind chill. It's just so crisp and clear out here and lovely as the sun is starting to rise. The barometric pressure is rising and the humidity sits at 91%. Once the sun is up, it'll be shining quite unobstructedly in southern Manitoba. Lots of clear skies. Decently strong northwesterly winds at 20 kilometers per hour felt likely all across southern Manitoba. Temperatures continue to be above seasonal. For us here in Winnipeg, that's 6 degrees. 2 is what's typical. To the north, much cooler, but also a good amount of sunshine for you, a mix of sun and cloud. Temperatures below freezing, around seasonal, so that's about the -4, -5 degrees mark. However, areas in the very northeast quite a bit chillier. -12 is the high for Churchill. Plus, you're getting some flurry activity to kick off the day. For us here, we'll see those clouds start to roll in overnight in Winnipeg. Temperatures dipping down to -4 degrees. And then tomorrow, we are tracking an Alberta Clipper, bringing mixed precipitation starting in the parklands on Thursday, pushing into our neck of the woods into the morning or late afternoon, likely starting as some flurry activity, then changing over to rainfall as temperatures stay above seasonal at 4 degrees in Winnipeg.
Thank you, Catherine. Time now for a question of the day. It's National Donut Day. We want to know, what's your favorite kind of donut? You can text your answer along with your name to 10400. Make sure to follow the automated instructions so we can feature your response. At Your Morning Winnipeg, we're all about celebrating your amazing pets, furry, feathered, or scaly. Your Pet of the Week submissions are amazing. We want more, whether it's dogs, cats, birds, or any other pet pals, send them our way. Drop your pet photos and a fun little story about them to Pet of the Week at ctv.ca, and then catch us every Thursday to find out if your pet is our Pet of the Week on Your Morning Winnipeg. We're going to take a break here. We'll be back right after this. Minister Mark Carney has presented his government's first federal budget. In it, there's a projected deficit of $78.3 billion, largely attributed to big-ticket projects.
We've got a couple of great investments here in Manitoba with the GATE project in Winnipeg, with the Prairie Innovation Centre in Brandon. These are ways that the federal government can use some of these infrastructure dollars to send a signal that they have our ag industries back.
Premier Wabkanu congratulated Carney on his first budget, saying he's happy to see the Port of Churchill project mentioned in the document. However, Canoe says there was a missed opportunity for healthcare, noting a bilateral funding agreement worth $150 million is expiring next year. Winnipeg Mayor Scott Gillingham is pleased to see the infrastructure fund and is hoping money will be available for widening Kenaston, extending Chief Peguis Trail, and the third phase of the North End Water Pollution Control Centre.
Well, I see this as an opportunity to get the federal funding for the third phase, which will be really critical to keeping water and sewer rates affordable for Winnipeggers, and that's vital.
The Liberal government is also pledging nearly $82 billion over 5 years on defence and security. Gillingham says Winnipeg is ready for that investment, pointing to Canadian Air Force Base 17 Wing and the city's aerospace industry. More federal budget coverage can be found at ctvnewswinnipeg.ca. The province is warning of another potential measles exposure, this time at an elementary school in southern Manitoba. It affects those who were at Emirado Centennial School in Winkler on October 29th. That's last Wednesday between 8:45 a.m. and 1 p.m. Anyone who was there during that time is asked to monitor for symptoms for about 3 weeks and check their immunization records. The Blue Bombers won't be there, but Winnipeg's Princess Auto Stadium will be packed for the 2025 Grey Cup game. The CFL has announced the big game is officially sold out. Organizers say tickets to nearly all the Grey Cup Festival events, including the CFL Awards and Gala Dinner, are also gone. It's another win for the Winnipeg Football Club, which sold out every home game this season. The Grey Cup is taking place Sunday, November 16th. And if you can't be there in person, you can still watch it right here on CTV or on TSN. Here's what's happening on the St. James Bridge. Looks like things are moving well here. We have no issues to tell you about in this part of the city. Now to some entertainment news. Get ready to have the time of your life. A modern day classic is dancing its way back to Winnipeg for a fun fan experience. Dirty Dancing in concert will make a stop at the Burton Cummings Theatre on April the 8th. It brings the beloved film to life with a live band and vocalists. Fans are encouraged to sing and dance along. Tickets go on sale Friday through Ticketmaster. More than 1.75 million lights will soon brighten 2 kilometers of walking trail in Winnipeg. Zoo Lights is returning to Assiniboine Park Zoo. Visitors can explore Manitoba's largest light maze, listen to carolers, and say hi to Old St. Nick. Zoo Lights runs for 30 nights from November 21st to January 1st, 2026. Tickets can be purchased online or at the zoo. David Beckham was celebrated as a captain of the pitch, and now he's being honored as a Knight of the Kingdom.
To receive the honour of knighthood, Sir David Beckham, for services to sport and to charity.
Beckham was knighted by the King at Windsor Castle Tuesday, recognizing his decades-long contributions. The 50-year-old is a self-described huge royalist and was dressed in a suit designed by his wife, Victoria Beckham, a fashion designer and former Spice Girl. Music lovers flocked to Orillia, Ontario to honor the city's very own Gordon Lightfoot.
We decided when Gordon wanted to go back to the UK in 2016 that we needed to document this story because it had been 30 years since he had gone.
A new documentary on Lightfoot's European tour aired as part of the annual Lightfoot Days Festival in the city. The festival wrapped with performances from Gordon Lightfoot's band and tribute performances. Lightfoot passed away in 2023. Beat the midweek blues with The Floor at 7. Shifting Gears is on at 8, followed by The Amazing Race. And Georgie and Mandy's First Marriage wraps things up at 10. It's all right here tonight on CTV.
The Bathfitter Live Eye is brought to you by Bathfitter, your bath and shower experts for more than 40 years.
Looking out at the skies over Winnipeg, just lovely start to the day. Crisp and clear with that sun peeking out. Winds are out of the west-northwest at 15 kilometers per hour. It's -5, that wind chill making it feel more like -10. Pressure rising, humidity sits at 91%. So much sunshine to enjoy today and a good amount of heat relative to this time of year. We're still starting off a little bit cooler than we've been used to over the last couple of days and weeks. 0 in Morden and Winkler, -1 in Portage, cooler in Brandon at -7. Over in Swan River, -4 degrees this hour. To the north, it's pretty chilly in Thompson and at Churchill at -10 and -9 respectively. Meanwhile, Churchill has been contending with some flurries to kick off your Wednesday. Meanwhile, we're going to be dealing with lots of sunshine, as is evidenced by our radar. We have such clear skies to kick us off. That'll be the case through much of the day. More of a mix of sun and cloud to the north, but for the most part, we're all going to be enjoying the sunshine and some above seasonal values. It'll be about 1 degree as kids head off to class, 5 as they take lunch. And those skies remain clear with a high of 6 as they head home, also our daytime high. Meanwhile, 2 is what we're used to this time of year, and we are coming back down to that later on this week. First off, overnight, we're starting to see the first signs of that as temperatures getting a little bit cooler, -4 degrees with a couple of clouds, winds easing a little bit and shifting out of the south to 15 kilometers per hour. Into tomorrow in Alberta, Clipper bringing a mixed precipitation through much of southern Manitoba, Winnipeg included. It'll likely start off as flurries and turn into a rainfall with a high of 3. Your Skywatch picture of the day, stunning shot of these northern lights outside of Selkirk. Thank you for Shannon for snapping this lovely picture. And if you have any weather pictures to share, we'd love to see them. Email them to winnipegweather@ctv.ca.
We're joined by CFL Hall of Famer and Manitoba legend Milt Stegall. Milt will be the guest speaker at this year's Salvation Army Hope in the City Luncheon, happening November 12th at that Canadiens Polo Park. It's the official kickoff to the Salvation Army's Christmas season of giving here in Winnipeg. Good morning, Milt.
Good morning. Good morning. How you doing?
Well, you know what? You're pretty much like if Christmas was a person. So don't you think you're the perfect person to host this?
You know what? I may wear my Santa Claus outfit. You never know. I'm Santa Claus from the South Pole. So there we go.
I believe it. I believe it. Okay. You've been part of many great causes over the years. What inspired you to get involved with this one?
Yeah, the Salvation Army is a special organization. You know, a lot of times when we're sitting in the comfort of our own home, sitting on our couch, taking for granted that we can go to our refrigerator or pantry and get food, you know, there are a lot of individuals out there who can't do that. And the Salvation Army is trying to be that bridge for those individuals. They provide, you know, food and shelter and other resources for those individuals. So this was a great cause for me to get involved with. I love helping out those who can't help out themselves, and the Salvation Army is one of those great institutions that can actually do that.
Everybody talks about how giving Manitobans are, and it is the season of giving. To kick that off, what does that spirit of giving mean to you personally?
It means everything. It means everything. A lot of us are in position where we can give, and a lot of us do. And a lot of people throughout Manitoba, as you mentioned, they give. Sometimes they don't know where and how to give, but if you lead them, they're going to give, and that's what the Salvation Army is doing. This is the season of giving. You know, everyone wants to have a great Christmas, just have a great day, and that's what the Salvation Army does, and that's what so many throughout Manitoba try to provide for so many. So this is going to be a great event. November the 12th, as you mentioned, at Canadians Polo Park. We're going to have a great time. We're going to raise a bunch of money so the Salvation Army can continue giving to so many throughout Winnipeg.
And when you are speaking at the luncheon, what do you plan on sharing? Any nuggets ahead of time?
Oh, well, it's going to be an interview type process. You know, they're going to ask me questions. They ask me, is there anything that's off limit? But there are no limits. Whatever they want to ask me, I'm willing to open up about it. I'm going to tell some great stories about my time in Winnipeg, throughout Manitoba, just my life, some of the things I've gone through on the field and off the field. It's going to be an open conversation. I think we'll have a Q&A maybe. So we're just going to have a good time, you know, go out and enjoy each other and raise a lot of money for the Salvation Army.
And you're right, though, too. A lot of people are struggling, especially this time of year. Do you have a message to them heading into the Christmas season?
Yeah, it's hard for me to say I know what you're going through because I don't, but just know that there are a lot of people out there who are trying to help you. We're trying to make sure that your day is easier, that your year is easier, that we're putting you in a position to maybe allow you to have a better life. And that's all we can say. Most of us who are in a position that you and I are in, we can't say we know what they're going through because we haven't gone through it, but we can say that we're trying to help better their lives and help them have a better holiday season, or just help them have a better day because they're just living moment for moment. So we're here to help them, and hopefully we can help them as much as possible.
Thank you so much, Santa Claus of the South. Appreciate it.
Thank you.
Well, as Milt says, giving season is here. We're going to find out what's happening at Fort White Alive to celebrate this season. Stay with us. Let's go now to Ainsley McPhail, who has been live outside at Fort White Alive, taking in the gorgeous moon this morning. So much to take in there. And as we head into the giving season, even more so. Good morning, Ainsley.
Good morning, Rochelle. Well, the geese are giving us a live performance right now. I could barely hear you because they're squawking so loud. Canadian treasures. Anna Ziprick joins us now from this beautiful view. You haven't been at Fort White Alive for too long, and now you can enjoy the views.
Enjoying it, yeah. It's gorgeous. Look behind me here. It's paradise.
What a perfect morning. They're a not-for-profit, so this is donor-funded. Mm-hmm. What's the landscape of that, and where do these donations go?
Donations go to support all of our programming. We've expanded with the new building that you've seen inside, so there's a lot more programming happening with kids. We saw 5,000 people come through for Truth and Reconciliation Day, so there's just lots going on here. And the organization relies heavily on donations from our members and just from the public to fund this place to keep it as beautiful as it is.
Mm-hmm. And why is that so important? It's more than just a nature center. There's so much education that goes into it as well.
Yeah, I mean, we're living in a climate catastrophe right now, so it's important to, all the kids that we see coming through field trips for our camps, winter camps, summer camps, it's important that we're educating our kids on how they can be climate champions.
Mm-hmm. And community-wise, too, there's so many other events that they do. I mean, now they're getting into, event space with this beautiful infrastructure here. But when it comes to events and then introducing the broader community, why is that so integral?
We're really fortunate to have this place within our city limits. For some people, it's hard to get out to see nature like this, so we're accessible by transit. There's lots of great programming that happens throughout the year. We just wound up our goose flights, which was a spectacle. Every evening, folks could come and watch the geese all land at sunset. It was super beautiful, and for a lot of people, that's their first kind of interaction with nature at that level.
Giving Tuesday's coming up, the top of December. There's a matching program, I'll say. What's that look like?
That's super exciting. So any donation made from now until Giving Tuesday on December 2nd will be matched by Vicar Auto Group. So we're encouraging people that are thinking about donating to make sure that they get that donation in before December 2nd to get that match.
And the winter time excites a lot of people, especially outdoor enthusiasts. Is there anything that you're looking forward to when it comes to Fort White and the various activities?
Well, I'm a cross-country skier, so I'll do some skiing, and I've actually never tried snowshoeing, so I'm looking forward to trying that for the first time.
You're fit. You could do it. I always end up in the snow, and my my heels are like, I'm going to need you to help me get up. More coming up later.
It's so beautiful there. Thank you. And, you know, I want to go for a walk tonight, so you're telling me it's going to be a good day for that.
Yes, but maybe keep that umbrella handy for tomorrow, Rochelle, because we could be in for a bit of a soggy day. But first, let's enjoy what we have on tap on this Wednesday. It's -5 out there with that wind chill. Feels more like -10. Clear, sunny, gorgeous. Winds out of the west-northwest at 15 kilometers per hour. Pressure rising. Humidity sits at 91%. So, yes, lots of sunshine on the way and a good amount of cloud coverage to the north of us. You'll still get a mix of sun and cloud, but, yes, clear skies on tap for us, and above seasonal values. Might be the last time in a while that I can say that. Well, I shouldn't say that. We've got some more warm temperatures, but we're starting a downward slide. 6 degrees today with those northwesterly winds ramping up to 20 kilometers per hour. Clear sunny skies though, and lots to look forward to in terms of that sunshine. Overnight tonight, temperatures dipping down to -4. We're starting to see some cooler overnight values, which is a bit of a tell of what's to come. Wind shifting and easing slightly out of the south at 15 kilometers per hour with a little bit in the way of cloud coverage. Then tomorrow, an Alberta clipper moving in, bringing mixed precipitation likely to much of southern Manitoba, Winnipeg included. It could start off as some flurry activity, not amounting to a ton, and then transitioning to rain into the afternoon as the temperatures warm up. A high of 3 degrees. Meanwhile, from there, we're back to below seasonal. -4 on Friday, lots of sunshine to enjoy. Much the same on Saturday, and we get a bit of a warm up on Sunday to close out the week.
Prime Minister Mark Carney's Liberals have tabled their long-awaited federal budget in the House of Commons Tuesday. The Carney government's first budget contains a deficit nearly twice the size forecast by the Liberals a year ago, but still in line with most experts' expectations. Joining us now with reaction to yesterday's federal budget is U of M adjunct professor of political science, Christopher Adams. Good morning, Chris.
Hi, Rochelle. Nice to be with you again.
Well, thanks for joining us. Now, what did you think about yesterday's budget? What was your first impression?
Well, it's a massive budget. You know, as you said in your introductory remarks, it's about double the deficit of what was a year ago, and but there are some major investments such as the Building Communities Investment Fund, and that's about $50 billion. There's also about $83 billion going into defense, and these things we knew ahead of time that these things would be happening. But you're right, the deficit's gone up to $78.3 billion, and that's an incredible amount. But, you know, the Liberals are defending themselves, saying this is an investment budget. And there are some things which they're cutting, and specifically in the public sector. You know, I remember living in Ottawa when Paul Martin was the Minister of Finance under Jean Chrétien, and there are about 45,000 jobs cut. And this budget, the estimates are 30,000 to 40,000 jobs cut over a number of years in the public sector. So there are major investments, but also some major cuts that we're looking at.
Was there anything that was surprising to you in this budget?
Not really. I mean, this is some of the stuff was the worst kept secret. It used to be that you didn't hear anything about the budget until the very day it was announced by the Minister of Finance. But many of these things were announced. We knew there'd be major increases in defense spending. We knew that there was a major deficit coming on the horizon. We didn't know specifically. But, you know, there were some things that people are happy about. One of the things is increased monies for summer jobs for young people. people, and we do know that youth unemployment is quite high in Canada, so that's good news. But we did know that there would be defense spending. We knew that there would be spending on infrastructure and things like that. So, but Rochelle, one of the things I was thinking about is this budget it might bring to mind post-World War II budgets, Mackenzie King, that is the need for large amounts of investment and willingness to go into increased debt to get the economy going.
Is this the kind of budget that you would expect being in a trade war like we are with the U.S.?
Well, that's a very good point. There is the context of Donald Trump and tariffs, and so there is a need by Ottawa to put more money into incentives for businesses to get through this period of time. So it would be quite a different budget if we were not facing the threat of tariffs. But Rochelle, as you know, this last election a few months ago, Mark Carney campaigned on dealing with Donald Trump, and he also campaigned very strongly, to use his words, build, baby, build. And so we did expect that there'd be a lot of money on infrastructure, and for Manitoba, we're hoping on the Churchill Port money coming that way.
Okay, one of the surprising things that did occur yesterday was the MP for Nova Scotia, Chris D'Entremont, switching parties, sort of crossing the floor and going to the Liberal side, leaving the PCs behind. Did that surprise you?
Well, the Liberals have only a 3-seat margin. They're 3 seats short for a majority, so they're probably scrambling very hard to see which MPs might cross the floor. There is some question as to whether this budget will pass, because we have to remember this is a minority government. But at the same time, I doubt the NDP is willing to go to an election with only their interim leader in place. They're still waiting to elect a leader, and their coffers for a federal campaign are quite empty. So, but yeah, an MP from Nova Scotia saying he's crossing the floor, that would be good news for the Liberals. But for it to become a majority, they'll need 1 or 2 more.
Okay, let's talk about your new book that you're launching on Thursday.
Thanks, Rochelle. Yes, it's called The Keystone Province, Politics and Governance in Manitoba, and it's an edited book. Kelly Saunders at Brandon University and myself, we're doing a launch at McNally Robinson, open to the public, and it's free, 7 p.m. at McNally Robinson. That's tomorrow evening. And we bring together over a dozen authors from across Manitoba who are experts in their fields, such as polling, media, economics, areas like that. And Kelly and I and Royce Coop have put together chapters on the political parties, but Kelly and I together edited this book, and it's the first book about really focusing on Manitoba politics in over 10 years.
Congratulations, Chris, and thanks for breaking down the budget for us this morning. We appreciate your time. Right now, we're sitting at -5. We'll be back after this short break.
Your Morning Winnipeg. Coffee is brought to you by Robin's Donuts, your favorite stop.
To start off your Wednesday, it's -5 degrees. That wind chill cooling us down a couple degrees from there. Some winds out of the west-northwest this hour. The pressure's rising, humidity at 91%. We'll see those winds ramp up slightly into the afternoon at about 20 kilometers per hour throughout much of southern Manitoba. We're starting off on a rather clear note, and that'll be the case throughout the day. Northern Manitoba, cloudier start. You'll see a mix of sun and cloud likely. There is a slight chance of some mixed precipitation in this region. A sure shot of some snow in Churchill. In fact, you've already seen some this morning. Temperatures, though, coming back down to more typical November values, where yesterday they were above seasonal. 0 in Island Lake, though, that's the one exception. The rest a little bit cooler at -6 in Thompson, -10 in Gillam, -12 in Churchill. The Northwest is in store for some much warmer values. 1 degree across the board in the Paw and Flin Flon, 0 in Norway House, Lynn Lake with a chance of that mixed precipitation at -5, while the rest of the region will deal with mostly cloudy or a mix of sun and cloud. Southwestern Manitoba, crystal clear skies, a decent above seasonal highs of 5 degrees. Plus, you'll also get some northwesterly winds at 20 kilometers per hour. Much the same for us here in Winnipeg and surrounding regions. We're getting up to a high of 6. 2 is what's typical for us. Northwestern Ontario, cloudier skies above seasonal and above freezing. 3 in Kenora, 2 in Red Lake, Dryden at 4, Fort Francis at 6 degrees under mostly cloudy skies. Overnight, we too will get a couple clouds lingering with temperatures dipping down to -4. Winds easing slightly in winds shifting out of the south. And then tomorrow, an Alberta clipper brings a good chance of some mixed precipitation, starting as rain or snowfall mixing into rain with a high of 3 degrees. And that sunshine returns to close out the work week.
Let's go back now to Ainsley McPhail, who's live at Fort White Alive this morning. It's hard to believe, but we're already talking about holiday gift giving. Good morning, Ainsley.
Good morning, Rochelle. Perfect segue, because I've got an idea for you. Rebecca Grissom joins us now to tell us all about the memberships here at Fort White Alive and who can give to who and why it's such a fantastic idea. So what does a membership involve, Rebecca?
So the biggest perk of a membership is that you get access to Fort White 364 days a year. We know you'll fall in love with every season here. There's so much to do, so much to explore, activities for every season. And with that membership, you get that full access. Other perks that you receive, you get discounts in both of our gift shops. You also get first and sometimes free or discounted tickets to all of our special events that we have. And again, with every season, we have lots of different events. And yeah, in terms of kind of as we're getting into holiday season and how to give that, we believe that it's a great gift for any nature lover. There's a couple different options. We have like corporate memberships. So if there's any business owners or managers out there that are looking for a really unique perk to offer their staff, you have like shared passes so people can bring their families on the weekends, take a lunch hour walk through here, really connect with nature. We all know the benefits of that. Or individual gift memberships. So people can, if they have a nature lover on their list, it's such a great gift because instead of giving one item, you're giving a gift that they're going to enjoy for the whole year.
And it includes early access to tickets that would traditionally sell out, like Santa Claus coming to town. What's that event like?
Yeah, that's a huge perk. Lots of our events sell out. Santa in the Forest is a big one like that. We also do member exclusive events, so it's only for members to be able to do lots of the activities kind of first here at Fort White. So that perk is huge because lots of our events are very sought out and you get first access, sometimes free tickets and discounted tickets to those.
We all love free. Oh, that's such a great word, isn't it? Speaking of gift ideas, we've got more coming up in the 8 o'clock hour. Heading to the gift shop.
Thank you, Ainsley. A Manitoba Remembrance Day project has gone national. The Poppy Blanket project is now on display in Ottawa.
It started in Winnipeg. I reached out to some local craft groups with the idea of making a poppy blanket. The response was just overwhelming. I worked with Debbie Sharma to really get it going, and there was so much excitement for it that we had people from all over Canada putting it together. In the end, there ended up over 8,000 poppies, and underneath it is actually over 2,000 dedicated ribbons to people's family members and to Manitoba's fallen soldiers from World War I.
The blanket now stretches some 85 feet. Sheila Lee Restall says she's pleased to see the blanket she helped start on display at the Canadian War Museum in Ottawa. She says as big as the blanket has become, it's still continuing to grow.
That is the hope. We have plans to do some more effort to make it bigger, to include more parts of Canada, that people who may not have known of it before, and see if we can make it longer than it is now.
The blanket was part of a Veterans Day week ceremony in Ottawa Tuesday that included the unveiling of a new coin. The largest and brightest supermoon of the year is lighting up our sky this week. The Beaver Moon is second of 3 supermoons happening in 2025, and it will be out in full force tonight. A supermoon happens when a full moon is closer to Earth in its orbit, making it look up to bigger and brighter than a typical moon. This beaver moon will be the closest of the year. It's named after the beaver because this is when a beaver takes shelter after gathering food for the winter. Here's a look at what's happening with your gas prices now. The Canadian average is $1.35. The provincial average is lower at $1.26. In Winnipeg, the average is $1.23, and the lowest price in the city is $1.25. All this info is on GasBuddy.com.
The Price at the Pump is brought to you by the Kidney Foundation. Help by donating your car today.
Let's see who's celebrating a milestone today. Happy birthday, Esme, love Dada, Daddy, and Ayla. And a happy birthday to Jenny from your loving family, James, Alex, Chase, Finn, and Amelia. To submit your milestone, visit our website, ctvnewswinnipeg.ca. Fill out the form at least 2 days in advance. It'll also enter you into our monthly contest for a chance to win a $100 gift certificate for Party Stuff.
Milestones is brought to you by Party Stuff. 3 Winnipeg locations and at partystuff.ca. Weather is brought to you by Mr. Lube Plus Tires. Open late, ready when you are.
It is quite the pleasant start to the day, and we're going to be dealing with some above seasonal values, 6 degrees higher than our typical of 2. Meanwhile, we are going to be warmer than last year, but well off that record set back in 1975 of 23.9. Yes, I have been enjoying these above seasonal values, and sadly they will be coming to an end in due time. But today we get to enjoy with lots of sunshine on the way, as shown, temperatures above seasonal all throughout southern Manitoba, plus some decent northwesterly winds at 20 kilometers per hour. To the north, a bit more in the way of sun and cloud in the northeast, with some cooler temperatures below freezing, about the -4 mark, but cooler in areas like Churchill at -12. The northwest, though, dealing with a warm pocket of air, bringing a mix of sun and cloud, and temperatures hovering at or just above freezing. Really good for this time of year for November. For us here in the south, we're going to see temperatures dip overnight to -4 in Winnipeg. Winds ease slightly, shifting out of the south at 15 kilometers per hour. A couple clouds rolling in. And then we have an Alberta clipper that we've been keeping our eye on that's moving in from the west, likely to bring rain or mixed precipitation to the parklands tomorrow. In fact, it'll likely show up as flurries first before turning soggy as those temperatures heat up. Winnipeg likely to grab your umbrellas. We'll likely be getting that rainfall before easing off overnight on Thursday.
It's Polar Bear Week, and Polar Bears International is working hard to protect the animals and their habitat, including the Arctic sea ice. This is also the time of year when the polar bears gather along the Hudson Bay near Churchill. Joining us now to tell us more is Lisa McCall, a staff scientist and the Director of Conservation Outreach with Polar Bears International. Good morning, Elisa.
Good morning. Thanks for having me.
Well, thanks for joining us. Now, you're joining us from the EV Tundra Buggy near Churchill. Tell us why this time of year is significant for polar bears gathering in Churchill right now. What are they up to?
Right. These polar bears have been on land all summer. They're hungry. They're waiting for the sea ice to refreeze on Hudson Bay so they can get out there and go hunt seals again. But until then, they're kind of bored, and they're hanging out, and they're gathering right around us, and we're live streaming the bears every day.
Well, that is pretty cool. Have you noticed any intriguing activity they've been up to lately?
Well, the temperatures are dropping, so they get a little bit more active. So yesterday we saw a lot of sparring, so play fighting between the adult males, and we expect to see more today.
That's fun to watch, I'm sure, live, right?
Yes, exactly. Everything's live. You're seeing it while we're seeing it.
Okay, so this year's theme for Polar Bear Week is coexistence. What is the significance of that?
Right. So polar bears are spending more time on land and more places. So we want to support the people living with polar bears and keep polar bears in the wild. So coexistence is really about awareness of climate change. It's about innovative strategies, community collaboration, and just securing a better future for polar bears and people.
And are you seeing, what are they really active right now? They're hanging out. They have their little ones too, right? So you want to make sure to protect the little ones and protect people.
Exactly. So we have seen moms and cubs in this area. They're the most vulnerable polar bears in the population. And we know here in Churchill that these females are having a harder time getting pregnant and having babies. So it's even more important that we're working to protect their future.
How was the summer for them this year?
It was pretty good. They came off the ice around mid-June, sometime in July. So they've, been on land for months right now, and they're really ready for that sea ice to freeze again. So we'll see. We have a tiny little bit of ice along the coast right now, but it's not enough for a polar bear to get out there. But we're hopeful that soon that they'll get out and be able to hunt again.
Okay, so you also have infrastructure in place that'll help us coexist with the polar bears. Tell us what that is.
Yeah, so Polar Bears International is working on a few things. We've got a BearDar unit, an AI radar unit up in Eureka Nunavut that's monitoring polar bears coming and going day and night. In Churchill, we're working on better waste management strategies, providing bear-resistant bins, and we're also working on different strategies, different tools for polar bears. So for example, is there any smells they don't like? We're looking at citronella, skunk, unique ways to kind of keep polar bears away from people. So we're really committed to some innovative ideas.
And how do you teach the humans in the community to stay away from them as well?
Well, that's really the biggest thing. It's the human management. So education is a huge thing. That's part of why we're out here right now in the EV Tundra Buggy 1. So thanks to Frontiers North Adventures and Noble Northern that helped us build this from the ground up. It allows us this mobile kind of education studio to roam around, look at polar bears, and then talk about them and the importance of staying safe with polar bears and how we can all help them exist well into the future and keep ourselves safe too.
And we are learning more and more about the impact polar bears are having on the larger ecosystem, as their food is often ravaged by some of the other creatures in their environment. It's very important to keep them going, so to protect the whole ecosystem, isn't it?
Exactly. Yes, they're considered a keystone species or an umbrella species. So when we talk about protecting the polar bear, it's really not all about the polar bear. It's about the sea ice ecosystem and all the animals that depend on this ecosystem. And you're right, there was a recent paper that polar bears, when they pull the seals and this food up under the ocean onto the sea ice, they're feeding all these other animals. So they really are such a critical part of the ecosystem and the world. We want to keep them around for a long time.
Well, here in these parts, Churchill seems far away, living with polar bears seems far away, but there are things we could do here to help them and support them, right? What are those?
Absolutely, a lot of things. So number one is talk about it. If you like polar bears or you just like anything about nature or environment, talk to your family, friends, and colleagues. People protect what they love. So talk about what you love. Of course, this week too, check out polarbearsinternational.org for more information about Polar Bear Week and the cool stuff we're doing. And explore.org is where you can watch all these different live cams across the tundra and see what's going on up here in Churchill, Manitoba.
So fun indeed. Good watching. Thank you so much, Elisa, for sharing this with us.
Thanks so much for having us.
Hello, everyone. Glenn Sheeler inside the TSN Sports Center newsroom with your must-see moment from Tuesday. And for that, let's go to Italy. Why not? UEFA Champions League, Juventus taking on Sporting Lisbon. The cross comes in for Dusan Vlahovic, but he gets his head on it. But what a save by Rui Silva. Great reaction to get his hand on that to prevent the goal. Vlahovic would later score in the game to get his revenge, but the goalkeeper had him here to earn your must-see moment from Tuesday. Tonight on TSN, it's an NBA doubleheader. T-Wolves taking on the Knicks, followed by the Spurs and Lakers. It all begins with NBA Countdown. That's at 7 Eastern. That's all from the Sports Center newsroom. Have a great day.
The TSN Must-See Moment is brought to you by Super Blinds, helping your home get holiday ready with Blinds by Hunter Douglas.
It's Wednesday, November 5th. Details of the first Carney budget are now on the record. The question now is where Liberals will find needed support to pass it. Road woes, why some businesses near Oak Bluff say a huge highway improvement project casts a shadow over their future viability. And for these riders, balancing style and skill on these very tall two-wheelers looks easier than a walk in the park. Your Morning Winnipeg starts right now. Good morning, Manitoba. Happy Wednesday. It is 8 o'clock. Thank you so much for being with us here on Your Morning Winnipeg. We have a lot of more reaction to yesterday's budget with Mark Carney, and we're also going to hear from the Winnipeg Video Game Orchestra. They have an upcoming show, and they perform for us, so you'll want to stay tuned for that. Cool. But it's a good day to be outside. Enjoy the outdoors while you can.
Keep those video games at bay, I think, for today, because, you know, with winter approaching, we might not have as many pleasant days still to come, because certainly that's what we have in the cards today. It is so lovely to be outside. It's a little bit brisk at -5, that wind chill making it feel more like -10. But as you can see, crystal clear skies, decently light winds out of the west-northwest. The pressure is rising, and that humidity, it's sitting at 91% this hour. So that sunshine will be continuing throughout the day. A little bit more in the way of cloud coverage in northern Manitoba, fairly dense to kick it off, especially in the northeast, where there's also some flurry activity in and around the Churchill region. Come on, buddy. This guy is taking a late start. Yes, here's the system we're talking about as well. That could bring a slight chance of some rainfall or more likely flurry activity to the northeast, though you're more likely to stay dry. A little bit cooler in this region, while the northwest is dealing with above seasonal values and a mix of sun and cloud with highs at around the freezing mark. As you can see, we stay very clear throughout the day, and then overnight we're joined by a little speckling of showers. But look at this little party crasher here. So this is not so little. It's an Alberta Florida clipper, a very fast-moving one at that. The forecasting around how it will affect Manitoba is still relatively early to say how much precipitation we'll be getting. It's moving from Grand Prairie, and areas in Saskatchewan and Alberta could get 5 to 10 centimeters worth. It'll track into the southwest, and as you can see, some rain mixes in there. So that's making our predictions in terms of how much snowfall we're going to get a little bit iffy. But needless to say, it will be quite soggy into tomorrow all throughout southern Manitoba. With a high of 3 degrees, though, so at least we're staying warm, at least for one day, because by Friday we get that sunshine off, but we also get a fairly cool high of -4 degrees. Your weather art of the day, this one drawn by 9-year-old Ryder, who is a student at Wayota School. We've got a whole scat of these entries from that school. So thank you so much for drawing that, Ryder. And if you have any photos of your kids' weather-themed artwork, we would love to see them. Email those entries to the address on your screen. And we're featuring one every day here on Your Morning Winnipeg.
The weather art of the day is brought to you by 103.1 Virgin Radio.
Prime Minister Mark Carney and Finance Minister François-Philippe Champagne will begin selling the federal budget today.
If you invest in infrastructure, if you invest in housing, if you invest in productivity and competitiveness, that's the way to grow the economy.
The budget includes nearly $90 billion in net new spending over 5 years. It also projects a $78 billion deficit for this fiscal year. Today, Carney is set to hold a post-budget event in Ottawa this morning before attending the Liberal caucus meeting. It's the first caucus meeting after Nova Scotia MP Chris d'Entremont left the Conservative caucus to join the Liberals yesterday. And Finance Minister François-Philippe Champagne will speak with business leaders in Montreal this afternoon. The budget still needs to be passed, and the Conservatives and Bloc have already said they won't support it. There is growing frustration among business owners and residents over expropriation plans to build a new highway interchange near Oak Bluff.
It's been very, very challenging. A lot of emails have been sent unanswered. The neighbors in the area have a lot of concerns, and no one really knows what's going on.
Kon Pasechnikov and his wife Julie have operated B-Boys Apiary and Meadery here for over a decade. The province is preparing to take their land for a new highway interchange at the junction of Provincial Trunk Highway 3 and the Perimeter. The former PC government told the family in 2023 their 11 acres were at risk, but they say they haven't heard from the NDP government since. The province says they and 18 other property owners will be given fair market value for their land and that consultations are ongoing.
I can't imagine how hard that must be for folks who see their land being procured for highway infrastructure. It happens across the province whenever we need to create our highways to be safer.
Well, that's cold comfort to Julie Pasechnikov, who says beekeeping is a part of their family legacy. CTV News has previously reported that work on the new interchange could begin in 2026. Food industry experts are warning the price of chicken could increase for Canadians over the next several months.
A lot of consumers are looking for different sources of protein, and there's just no Canadian chicken. Supplies are really low.
The cost for poultry could increase by as much as 20 to 25% over the next several months. Demand for chicken has increased in the wake of rising beef prices, leaving supply low and grocery stores struggling to keep costs down. Experts say the government needs to allow more products into the market to offset the low Canadian supply. Enthusiasts of the penny farthing went for a ride through a park in Prague. The vintage bicycle variety is most recognized for its large front and small rear wheels. Wearing their best 1800s chic, the 13 cyclists showed off their skills riding in formation, synchronized to music. The event takes place every year since 1868. Here's a look at what's going on at Main and Broadway. Looks like things have sort of stalled over here, but it's just a red light. No issues to tell you about at this point in the drive. If you do see any problems out there, though, please let us know.
Traffic is brought to you by Mr. Lube Plus Tires. Open late, ready when you are.
Let's go back now to Ainsley McPhail, who's live at Fort White Alive this morning. You're right at the gift shop, too. It's one of my favorite places to visit. Good morning.
Good morning. It's one of my favorite places too, and what's great about Fort White Alive is that they have 2 of them. So this is the latest one in the newer building. Bonnie Dac-Boulay joins us now to tell us all about what people can expect and a big sale coming up.
Yes, we do have a big sale coming up at the end of November. November 20th, we have our after-hours shopping event, which is a sneak peek, first pick at all of our amazing holiday decor and gift-giving options. At this event, we're going to have live music. One Great City Brewing is going to be here launching their signature portered beer with us. The Buffalo Stone Cafe will be open with drinks and appetizers for sale. We're going to have the whole store is going to take over the building. So this sale is going to take place at our Alloway Reception Center, which is our McCreary Road location. The sale is from 5 p.m. till 8 p.m. It is a ticketed event, $5 per person. Tickets are for sale online or at the door. And all proceeds from that go towards outdoor environmental education here at Fort White Alive. So it's a great option to come and check everybody off your shopping list.
You mentioned the perks is that you get to see it first. The perks, I guess, of working here is the same thing. So you've brought your favorite gift. It looks ultra Manitoban.
Yes. So one of my favorite gifts is it's the carving kits. It's a soapstone carving kit from Studio Stone Creative. It comes with everything you need to make a soapstone sculpture. Even has a cardboard background, so you have a little habitat for your critter. And it comes in all Arctic animals and also Canadian animals. So we have bears and rabbits and eagles. So this is a great option for kids of all ages to do with parents or without. Even adults can do it.
And I love, I mean, there's everything too, like such variety from clothing to even some sweet treats. I picked up the little cheesy earlier.
The cheesies are a fan favorite. We also have some fabulous logo toques available. This will be available at both of our locations, both McCreary Road and McGillivray Road gift shops.
Before we're out of time, what was the date again, real quick?
November 20th.
Okay, I hope you guys come down and check it out.
Okay.
8:38 is our next chat.
Okay, thanks, Ains. A special project in Fredericton is bringing a piece of Canada's past back to life. CTV's Sarah Plowman explains the inspiration behind it.
Rivers were once the highways, canoes the vehicles, built of birch bark, cedar, and ash trees.
They call us the Woolustogawig. We are the people of the river.
Rodney Bear's ancestors built these vessels, but he never had until now.
For me, it's like revitalization of culture.
Under One Sky Friendship Center is behind the project. Recruited artist Shane Purley-Dutcher to lead.
I don't call myself a master builder. I'm still learning myself, but like I said, I built 6 canoes, so I know enough about the process to get through to the final step.
In May, they went to the forest to gather materials, climbing nearly 10 meters up a birch tree to shave off the bark for the base. They cut a cedar tree for the planks, ash for the thwarts, and dug up spruce roots for the lashing.
Bring it back and boil it, take off the bark, split it.
This canoe has been their vehicle to learn more about Wolastoqey culture, history, and identity.
This is like a physical language and a spiritual one too, but it's like you're working with your hands, you're working with the elements, and as you're working with these elements, you're starting to see like why they may have done things a certain way.
It's something that we need to continue to do to pass down to our future generation of students and people that want to learn the tradition to keep this alive.
On Wednesday, the 15-foot canoe will launch and touch water, but it's already touched these builders.
The more I can soak up, the more I can teach, so that our culture isn't lost.
Learning a skill that dates back generations to ensure it's maintained for the future. Sarah Plowman, CTV News, Fredericton.
The Bathfitter Live Eye is brought to you by Bathfitter, your bath and shower experts for more than 40 years.
Look at that picture perfect start to the day. It's -4 out there, that wind chill a little bit cooler. Our conditions are nice and clear, lots of sunshine on the way, and currently winds are out of the west at 13 kilometers per hour, giving our camera a little shake. Our barometric pressure is rising and the humidity sits at 95%. So we are going to be dealing with some cooler temperatures to kick off the day, but we're up to some more untypically warm temperatures, unseasonably warm temperatures. There's the lingo I'm looking for. Stepping out of the frame here so you can see all these these temperatures, we're still struggling to make it over freezing in most areas, Brandon including at -7, -3 in Dauphin, -4 in Swan River. Cooler values, particularly in the northeast and Churchill, where you've had some snowfall to kick off the day, -10 in that neck of the woods. Same goes for Churchill. Much warmer in the Paw at -2. Clear will be the name of the game for southern Manitoba today. So much sunshine on the way because we have so little clouds obstructing it. And to the north, a little bit more in the way of cloud coverage, a mix of sun and cloud for you. It'll certainly be sunny as the kids, well, some of them heading off to school. It is take your kid to work day after all. 0 as they get to class, 5 as they take lunch, and heading home getting to 6 degrees, which is also our high for the day. 2 is what's typical. We'll contend with some decent northwesterly winds at 20 kilometers per hour. They ease slightly and shift overnight out of the south, and then we see our temperatures dip to -4 as we get a couple clouds. But into tomorrow, things take a bit of a turn. We are tracking an Alberta clipper that could be bringing some mixed precipitation to much of southern Manitoba, Winnipeg included. Still decent highs though at 3 degrees. We are unpacking the proposed federal budget ahead with business journalist Brian Borzakowski. Don't go anywhere.
There continues to be plenty of reaction to Prime Minister Mark Carney's first ever federal budget. It includes $90 billion in net new spending over the next 5 years with pro-business measures meant to increase productivity. Now, it also details a ballooning deficit projected to be $78.3 billion for 2025-26. However, there is very little in the budget aimed at the cost of living concerns for everyday Canadians. U.S. President Donald Trump's key tool for deploying tariffs will face a critical legal test in the Supreme Court south of the border today. In a post on social media, Trump called the hearing, quote, one of the most important in the history of the country. The top U.S. court will hear from states and businesses that argue Trump's use of a national security statute to hit nearly every nation with tariffs goes beyond the powers of the president. And Australia has added Reddit and Kik to its list of social media platforms that must ban children under the age of 16 from having accounts. The country's communications minister is saying today that the platforms will join others like Facebook and TikTok in enforcing the rule starting December 10th. Platforms failing to comply could face fines of up to $45 million Canadian. Those are your morning business headlines for BNN Bloomberg. I'm Matt Scooby.
We now know that Prime Minister Mark Carney's first budget projects a deficit of $78 billion for this fiscal year. The budget focused on a few key priorities, including competitiveness, defense spending, and cooperative housing. There were also some key announcements for our province, but what does it mean to the average Manitoban? Joining us now to break down what the budget actually means to us is financial journalist Brian Borzakowski. Good morning, Brian.
Good morning.
Nice to see you.
Nice to see you too.
Well, you had a chance to kind of look over some of it was a huge document.
Yeah, 405 pages.
Yeah,
I didn't read all 405 pages, but it was big.
It's a lot to cover.
Yeah.
What was your first impression?
I think my first impression was that Mark Carney and his team really kind of hyped this up as transformational, generational budget. It didn't feel very transformational, at least not in the way that they were sort of saying it would be. So the hype, I don't think, lived up to what actually was delivered. The biggest things that they did was they are putting, billions of dollars into infrastructure, into defense, into other investments that are going to help, hopefully, spur the economy. There was not many things to address affordability on the individual level, which I thought maybe there would be more. People are struggling. People are worried about, tariffs and the economy and where that's going to go on a very individual level. That really wasn't addressed. It was much more big picture and longer term. So those were my first impressions.
It'll take years before we even realize what this budget means, right?
Right, and that was sort of the thing. It's like we're talking about Trump, we're talking about tariffs, we're talking about our economy, which is slowing right now. But a lot of these infrastructure investments, which there's programs to fast track certain programs and fast track investment, which is great, but those things will take time. They could take several years. There was one thing which was interesting was there was this tax credit called a super deduction for businesses. Could be businesses of all sizes, but it is going to allow you to write off investments in manufacturing machinery and equipment and buildings much faster than you would have been able to before. Now that's great, but only if you actually make those investments. And so there was a hope that maybe they would just cut the corporate tax rate kind of across the board. They didn't do that. And so, that could take time if people actually do that investment. So those sorts of things, where will it go? We don't know. There's no sort of clear path to me that this is going to have an impact today. It could have an impact over time.
Okay, let's talk about the little things that affect families. So what did you see in the budget that is something that it will affect a family or cover someone personally?
Yeah, so I hate to say it, but there wasn't much. And again, that was a bit maybe surprising. There wasn't a lot to take away. What they did reiterate, and they already announced a lot of the measures before this, but they said again that the tax rate on the lowest income bracket will go from 15% down to 14.5% this year to 14% next year. So that will help a little bit. That's you know, a little bit lower taxes that people will have to pay.
Yeah.
Then there's sort of small things if you're transferring your RSP to a different provider, you don't have to pay the $150 fee. They're going to look into ATM fees, which that could have a big impact, but they said they're just going to look into it. They didn't say they're eliminating it or doing anything like that, so we'll see where that goes. But you know, I got to say, other than that, there was no sort of real, nothing really that we can grab onto here. No good nuggets that you sometimes see in other budgets.
But lots of spending, big dollar figures.
Right.
What will it mean to our economy? We know that unemployment numbers are slowly rising.
Yeah.
GDP numbers are expected next month.
Yeah.
And are there indicators that this budget will help us stay above water?
So that's the thing, possibly, right? If they invest in infrastructure, if they invest in housing, which they have a $25 billion in home building that they're putting towards that, those things will spur jobs, construction jobs, all sorts of other kind of jobs. Historically, when you have a sluggish economy, you invest in infrastructure. That's a really kind of easy way to get things going again. And so that could help people get jobs in Manitoba and elsewhere. I mean, one thing I guess we should also mention is that to offset the $141 billion in spending, they're cutting about 40,000 public sector jobs.
Yeah.
Now, public sector was a big driver of jobs over the last few years, so they may just be sort of cutting back what they've kind of put in over the last few years, but that could affect a lot of people here. We don't know where those cuts will be. So it'll be a bit of both. Hopefully over time, yeah, more jobs will come with a stronger economy.
Brian, thanks for your time today.
Thank you.
Certainly a lovely start to this Wednesday. We're rich in terms of the sunshine. -4 degrees with that wind chill making it feel more like -9. Some light westerly winds, the barometric pressure rising, humidity sits at 95%. So I want to take a bit of time to talk about this Alberta Clipper that we have been tracking for the last couple of days. We have some new information from Environment and Climate Change Canada. So it's looking to be forming over the Grand Prairie region and likely to move further to the east into Westman, Parkland region to be specific. Tracking with it the potential for some flurries and then maybe some mixed precipitation as it meets some warmer temperatures throughout the day. However, as it makes its way in the form of flurries through Saskatchewan and Alberta, Environment and Climate Change Canada predicts about 5 to 10 centimeters of flurries could fall there. It's not totally clear if we'll get that much here in southern Manitoba. Needless to say, we are in store for a rather mucky day tomorrow here in southern Manitoba. But backtracking to today, we have a sunny and rather benign day. 6 is what we're looking at in Winnipeg in terms of our high. 3 is what's typical. To the north, temperatures cooler, particularly in the northeast corner at about -5 degrees. But the northwest, above seasonal temperatures peaking at around freezing with lots of sunshine. Your Skywatch picture of the day, Shannon snapped this stunning shot in Selkirk of those northern lights. Thank you so much, Shannon, for having that camera ready. And if you have any weather pictures to share, you can always email us at winnipegweather@ctv.ca.
Lake Winnipeg is a Manitoba gem, and we're learning today about a project that's going to work to maintain the health of it. So Scott Graham joins me from Simplot Canada. Thank you for coming into the studio and joining us today. Let's talk a little bit about the Lake Winnipeg project. What is it?
Thank you, Terry. So the Lake Winnipeg project is a group of farmers and organizations such as Simplot Canada, the potato processing facility out of Portage la Prairie, and we're just looking at different ways that we can, promote and show sustainability within the industry and within agriculture. So there's many things that farmers are doing, and we just want to be able to show those practices. So things such as cover crops, the use of soil moisture probes, reduced tillage, or just some technologies and sustainable practices that farmers are using to, have a better impact on Lake Winnipeg by reduced erosion, reduced runoff, better usage of nutrients and inputs that they put on their crops to make them healthy. And, overall, that is, healthier for Lake Winnipeg when the water does arrive to Lake Winnipeg.
Okay, and I mean, it's so important, as I mentioned, it's one of those gems in our province that we we want to maintain. We enjoy it in so many ways, but we want to make sure that it stays healthy. What's some of the feedback that you're getting?
You know, excellent feedback. You know, the farmers that are involved in the project, they're able to tell their story. Their story is actually a data-driven story. We've hired a third-party consultant or organization to, you know, review what they're doing, look at scientific facts, and everything is, you know, verifiable. And some of the things that are verifiable are soil stabilization, nutrient retention on the land, and, you know, in the end, it does make everything a little bit more resilient within agriculture, and that does lead to a stronger, healthier rural community with a better understanding of agriculture in the end as well, too.
Okay, I love hearing that. What are some of the benefits that we as a society will then notice as you're working to do this?
Yeah, so as a society, you know, the public will become a little bit more informed with what, you know, farmers are doing. You know, sustainability has always been about agriculture. Farmers are always trying to, you know, figure out and look at new ways to, you know, reduce their inputs to produce more food, trying to feed a growing population.
Okay. What made you want to take part as part of Simplot?
Yeah, great question. So Simplot, we work within the Lake Winnipeg Basin project. We also source raw potatoes from our farms as well too. So we just thought it would be a great opportunity just to, you know, tell a data-driven, scientific, verifiable story, and you know, promote with what our farms are doing, because farmers, they really are humble. They don't always talk about, you know, what they're always doing all the time. They are doing lots of things that are sustainable, such as cover crops year-round. You know, they're looking into things to manage the amount of water that they use for irrigation, such as soil moisture probes, variable rate irrigation pivots. That allows the farmers to put on less water in the low spots, more water on the high spots, you know, trying for a healthier crop in the end there. There's also a method called dammer diking as well too. That's when a certain implement goes across the field. It creates divots in the soil in between the rows in the furrow, and then that holds the water as well too, making it more efficient. Instead of the water during a rainfall event or an irrigation event, all that water running to the low spot.
I love hearing about these sustainable practices. Shout out to the farmers. We appreciate all that you're doing. Thanks so much for coming in and sharing this information with us.
Thank you.
Learn more at fieldstoforks.ca.
Your Morning Winnipeg. Coffee is brought to you by Robin's Donuts, your favorite stop.
If I may suggest, get outside and enjoy that sunshine, because it is so lovely out there to kick us off on Wednesday. -4 degrees, that wind chill cooling us off a few from there. Conditions are clear, sunny, lovely. Winds are light out of the west. The barometric pressure is rising. The humidity sits at 95%. So fairly banal conditions on the way to southern Manitoba and through much of the province, I should add. You can see there's not much to report on here on our radar, because we have so little in the way of cloud coverage. That'll be the case through the day. A little bit more to the north, particularly in the northeast, where there is a slight chance of some flurry activity, most notably in Churchill, where you've already seen those flakes fly. Meanwhile, there is going to be a bit of a cooler air pocket in that region. So while you've been dealing with above seasonal values the last couple of days, you're cooler, definitely. More typical November values on tap in Thompson at -6, -10 in Gillam, -12 in Churchill. Island Lake, though, staying warm and above seasonal at 0. Much warmer, though, to areas in the northwest, with mostly cloudy skies in certain parts, in the Paw more clear, I would say, a mix of sun and cloud in the Paw and Norway House. 0 degrees in Norway House, the Paw and Flin Flon likely cracking the freezing mark. Southwestern Manitoba, clear sunny skies, northwesterly winds at 20 kilometers per hour. High there across the board at 5 degrees. For us here, very similar temperatures and conditions. Lots of sunshine on the way, with an above seasonal high in Winnipeg of 6. 2 is what's typical. And northwestern Ontario, more cloud coverage expected in Kenora with a high of 4. Overnight tonight, we're joined by a few clouds. Winds ease slightly and shift out of the south. Temperatures dipping to -4. But then Thursday, we've been tracking this low pressure system, Alberta Clipper. Still unclear exactly how much snow will be coming our way, but likely some mixed precipitation with a high of 3 degrees.
The Public Service is recommending the city start setting money aside in anticipation of snow clearing season. It wants councillors to approve a $7 million over-expenditure. A city report going before the Finance and Economic Development Committee November 10th says the money should be made ready to pay contractors in case there are some heavy snowfalls in the last quarter of the year. In its last multi-year budget, the city added incremental increases to the snow clearing budget, which has historically fallen short. The public service says without those changes, it would be asking for an over-expenditure closer to $14.5 million. People living on the prairies report being disproportionately impacted by U.S. tariffs. That's according to the latest poverty and socioeconomic report by the Salvation Army. It found 69% of households in Manitoba and Saskatchewan say they've been directly impacted by the ongoing trade dispute, the highest in the country. 49% of respondents also say they're concerned about not having enough income to cover basic needs, 8 points higher than a year ago. Angus Reid surveyed more than 1,500 Canadians between September 12th and 16th. The survey can't be assigned a margin of error, as the respondents were members of the Angus Reid Forum and therefore weren't chosen at random. A shortage of prescription painkillers caused by manufacturing disruptions is expected to continue into the new year. Originally, the shortage of drugs containing acetaminophen with oxycodone, including Percocet, was supposed to last until the fall. However, the Canadian Pharmacists Association says medications with codeine, such as Tylenol 3, are back in stock, but supply remains limited for Tylenol 2 and 4. The association says other pain medications are being prescribed as alternatives. Remembrance Day is 1 week away, and while the most notable celebration will happen at the War Monument in Ottawa on November 11th, the lead up to that day comes with several opportunities to pay respect. CTV's Sean Varden was at the National War Museum for a special ceremony Tuesday.
It's an annual tradition marking the beginning of Veterans Week.
And bringing together youth, cadets, as you see all around, along with veterans. And it's about carrying that torch of remembrance that we all have an obligation to carry forward.
A candlelight tribute put on by the Canadian War Museum and Veterans Affairs Canada to honor fallen heroes. This year's features a Canadian poppy blanket, brought here from Winnipeg, 8,000 hand-stitched symbols of remembrance made by people from across the country.
We do small events at school growing up. You know, we may go to Remembrance Day ceremonies, but this was a way for me and people like me and other people across Canada to actually show our thanks, and that's why it's so important to me.
The blanket isn't the only special addition to this year's ceremony. The Royal Canadian Mint unveiling a new $2 coin commemorating the 25th anniversary of the repatriation of Canada's unknown soldier. The special coin was designed by the same artist who created the bronze work on the unknown soldier's tomb.
This is the most appropriate place to unveil this, to give the people, give a little something back to the people who serve us so much by letting them see this coin firsthand.
Cadet groups and local youth paying tribute to the service, sacrifice, and resilience of those who put their lives on the line for Canada. On duty to place candles from those in the crowd who have served.
So I saw the cadets going up carrying those candles. They represent so many different ethnicities and spirituality and backgrounds, and so it just really shows how diverse Canada really is.
Sean Varden, CTV News.
Let's take a look now at the current traffic situation along Portage Avenue. Things are really good here, but we do have one traffic alert to tell you about. A crash is blocking the northbound median lane on Waverly Street at Skirfield. You'll need to keep to the left to pass. If you have any other traffic tips or updates to share, text them to us, please, at 10400. And here's a look now at your gas prices. The Canadian average is $1.35. The provincial average is lower at $1.26. In Winnipeg, the average is $1.23, and the lowest price in the city is $1.25. All this information is on GasBuddy.com.
The Price at the Pump is brought to you by the Kidney Foundation. Help by donating your card today.
For our question of the day, we wanted to know what's your favorite kind of donut. RJ's favorite is the Boston cream. Harold enjoys the lemon buster, but it has to be from Robbins. Okay, thank you. April says freshly baked honey glazed. Arlene's favorite donuts are an apple fritter or any coconut or peanut covered one. Lori tells us Dale loves an apple fritter, but she loves a Boston cream and donut holes. Louise says her favorite donut is Boston cream. Jackie has a few favorites, including the dark chocolate caramel pretzel from O Donuts, blueberry cheesecake filled Timbit, and Boston cream at Grand Donuts. Henry says his favorite donut of all time would have to be the apple fritter with a good cup of coffee. Another viewer says their favorite donut is one with toasted coconut. Thank you for all your responses. Sounds good. All right, let's go to Ainsley McPhail now, who's live at Fort White Alive. Now I want a donut, Ainsley.
I've never heard so many answers to the question of the day. Ask about donuts every day, Rochelle.
No kidding.
We're going to get a list a mile long. I love it.
How is it there at Fort White Alive?
I love it. It's great. It's a perfect morning. It's a beautiful morning. If you guys had the chance to see the moon, the super moon, it was awesome. Mark is joining us once again to talk about opportunities for kids, because when the holiday ramps up, the parents still need them to be energized. So what's available?
Yeah, of course, parents will need a place to have their kids out in nature, enjoying nature, getting some activity. So we have a lot of winter camps available over the Christmas break, over the winter break. Day camps, winter day camps for ages 6 to 11. They're very popular, and registration is open now.
Mm-hmm. Another opportunity for kids, and I should say parents too, because everybody wants that perfect photograph with Santa Claus. Yes. When is this happening, and what does it look like?
Well, in a few weeks' time, or near the end of November, we have a couple of weekends where we're going to be hosting photos with Santa. You can bring your kids and they can visit with Santa, tell them what they want for Christmas or the holidays. And it's a really popular program that we have because the photos are so unique. They're out in nature. It's Santa in the forest, and that's literally what it is. It's Santa with parents and children having really cool photos taken. And tickets go on sale for that tomorrow at noon on our website.
Perfect. We talked about how picturesque that is, but truly the morning that we're having today, you guys have other opportunities to really peruse the area.
Yeah, well, of course, anybody can have access. If you're a member or if you pay admission, anybody can have access here to Fort White, and it's gorgeous. But we do have a couple of programs coming up soon. We have Fall Forest Frolics, a family-friendly program, lots of Fs, available. And that's happening over the next couple of Saturdays, the next couple of weeks. And that's a bit of a guided hike, and it'll end with marshmallow roast.
Oh.
Yeah.
Marshmallow donuts. My favorite's sprinkles. If you want to bring them to the station, you guys know where to find it. Seriously, such a fun morning that we've had here at Fort White Alive.
I know, and I almost said donuts and almost felt like Homer Simpson there for a second. Thank you, Ainsley. Out on the rooftop, what's your favorite kind of donut, Catherine?
Oh, I love a classic glaze.
Oh,
I know that is simple, but put it in the microwave for a couple of minutes, seconds, not minutes. Delicious.
I know, I agree. I love it too.
Me too.
How's it feeling out there?
It's feeling sweet, like a donut, trying to tie it in. It's just so lovely, even though you can see my breath. It is sort of. There we go. It is really just so pleasant out here, especially by November standards. It's -4 under clear sunny skies. Winds are out of the west at 13 kilometers per hour. Barometric pressure rising. Humidity at 95%. So a lot of sunshine on the way to southern Manitoba. Temperatures above freezing and above seasonal. Most areas will be around the 6 or 7 degree mark with some northwesterly winds at 20 kilometers per hour. Also warm values on the way to the northwest. Areas like the Paw and Flin Flon, you're going to peak at around the freezing mark with a good amount of sunshine, maybe some clouds mixed in there. The northeast is a little bit cooler. You'll have temperatures below freezing, and in some stretches like Thompson, Churchill, more in the low minus teens, under a mix of sun and cloud. Meanwhile, we're tracking this Alberta Clipper that could be bringing some mixed precipitation to much of southern Manitoba, mostly intense in the parklands. Look for that to begin tomorrow, but it's quick moving. It'll taper off overnight Thursday, with temperatures in Winnipeg reaching an above seasonal high of 4. We're going to take a break, but stay with us. We've still got lots on the way on Your Morning Winnipeg.
Weather brought to you by Blinds Are Beautiful, helping your home get holiday ready with blinds from Hunter Douglas.
Have a news tip? When you see news happening, let CTV News Winnipeg know. Text your tips, pictures, and videos to 10400. That's 10400. Message and data rates may apply.
Good morning, it's 8:45. Buckingham Palace will soon be home to the largest ever display of the late Queen's fashion. The exhibition will include the gowns Queen Elizabeth II wore for her wedding and coronation. There will be 200 items. Half of them have never been displayed publicly before. Queen Elizabeth II, Her Life and Style, will open April 10th. If you listen to music often, you may be doing yourself a bigger favor than you realized. Australian researchers conducted a study recently and found people who listen to music regularly have lower rates of cognitive decline. They looked at more than 10,000 adults aged 70 and older and found those who listened to music daily had a 39% reduced rate of dementia. Playing a musical instrument was also associated with a 35% lower rate of dementia. Researchers note the study shows correlation, not causation. Is it the theme song from Super Mario Brothers, Sonic the Hedgehog, or The Legend of Zelda? What's your favorite tune from a video game? A new community orchestra plays all your favorite songs from video games, and joining us now is James Palick from the Winnipeg Video Game Orchestra and the rest of the Side Quest Quintet. Good morning, James and the crew.
Good morning.
Tell us how this all began, this orchestra. What inspired it?
So this was inspired kind of as a love letter to video game music. Our musical director, Dan Bjornson, had this idea that we needed to bring more video game music to the classical music stage, and so kind of his brainchild, he put this all together, got a bunch of video game loving musicians from the city, professional, amateur, hobbyists, and then began the Video Game Orchestra. We performed our first concert rather, in June, and now we're setting for our second concert.
And some of these songs are iconic from some of people's favorite video games, so it really means something to them when they hear that tune, right?
Yes, correct. Yeah, we've played Legend of Zelda, Super Mario Brothers. We've got Sonic coming up, Kirby, a lot of the common favorites.
Okay, you performed at Comic-Con, a huge fan reaction. People loved it?
Yes, the room that we were in, we were told we got one of the biggest audiences for that space, and huge fan reaction. Very exciting for all of us.
You have a new show coming up that people could check out for themselves. Tell us about that.
Yes, so November 14th, Friday, November 14th at 7:30 p.m. The Video Game Orchestra is performing at Jubilee Place, MBCI. We are being joined by 8-Bit and the Single Players, which is a local kind of rock fusion group that also plays video game music. So they're joining us on a piece for the set. It should be a good show.
Okay, you're going to perform quickly for us right now. Tell us about the song.
Yes, so we are going to be performing a piece arranged by a member of the ensemble, Amanda Forrest, who's here behind me. From Baldur's Gate, it is the Bard Dance.
Okay, take it away. We want to hear it.
That was an amazing performance, and I'm hoping that this forecast will also be music to your ears because it's looking so lovely out there. -4 degrees, of course, that wind chill in effect, making it feel more like -9. Some westerly winds at 13 kilometers per hour. The barometric pressure is rising, humidity at 95%. So much sunshine on the way, more above seasonal values, but as evidenced by our radar, a little bit more in the way of cloud coverage in northern Manitoba, particularly in the northeast. Meanwhile, we're going to be dealing with above seasonal temperatures here in Winnipeg. We're looking at a high of 6 degrees. 2 is what's typical for this time of year. Northwesterly winds will be decently strong at 20 kilometers per hour. They ease and shift slightly overnight out of the south, with temperatures dipping down to -4. We start to see those clouds roll in, and that's when we also are starting to contend with an Alberta clipper. As you can see, we have a chance for some mixed precipitation on Thursday, likely starting as snowfall in the colder temperatures in the morning and switching to rain into the afternoon with a high of 3. That sunshine reemerges on Friday with temperatures taking a dip at -4. We're going to take a break here on Your Morning Winnipeg, but don't go anywhere. Your videos of the day still to come.
Rooftop arrangements provided by Lacoste Garden Center. Salon services provided by Essentique Spa Salon.
Say goodbye, we take things off with the thoughts of an adventurous one-year-old. Roro can barely walk, but he shreds like a pro on a bike with his dad. They mic'd him up for this ride, and he can't stop babbling.
I want more of this. Honestly, I'll watch a whole show of this. He's so cute.
His little hands.
Yeah.
And lastly, a confused canine wondering why he isn't getting his pets. Miss Golden is wondering why his owner's hands aren't touching him when making the petting motions. Over 4 million people have viewed this, and they all agree that the poor pup deserves all the pets and treats after this.
Kidding, he's gonna have trust issues.
What are you doing?
Poor guy. Like, come on. Pony up already.
Look at his eyes. It's so funny. Well, playing in a splash pad is always fun with friends, even of the feathered kind. These ducks were so excited to get a bigger splash pad, they couldn't contain themselves. Having so much fun. And there are still some geese around enjoying the mild weather we have, so it's not too bad to be outside. Have a wonderful day. We'll see you tomorrow.